Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, got to fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Scary hours in the building. It's your boys. It's Saturday. It's 11/11. Make a wish, I guess. This is Grapsody. I, of course, am Phil Lindsey, but I am in the wrong place. Let me switch that around.
Oh, yeah, that's not me. Okay, that's me.
Phil Lindsey now.
That's me.
There, that is Righteous Reg on my left. And, of course, we have a guest in the building. Cresta Star is also with us. What's going on, y'all?
Cresta is a cow. It's your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. It's Saturday morning. And the First Lady of Grapsody is here in the building. Cresta joining us once again. How are you this morning?
I'm good. My muggle job, like I told you guys offline, has got me in a chokehold, but it's fine because I look forward to Thursdays and Saturdays to watch wrestling. I try to catch up on all my wrestling on my 2 days off. So no days off. What do the men call it? Sigma alpha mindset. You know, all we do is grind, no mental health. How are you guys?
Hold on a minute. You put a whole bunch of stuff on us really quick, and I don't subscribe to none of that, I think.
No days off, grind. I don't need mental health.
I can't say that I subscribe to that. But it's been a very interesting weekend. Straight out the gate, our guy Aubrey is under fire again because right after we recorded last week, the clip of Mos Def was everywhere. Our friend Yassine Bey very reluctantly gave his thoughts on Drake because he was asked the question. And he did not want to answer this question. He was very much like he knew what would happen if he answered this question. But then he proceeded to tell us that Drake is pop. He's not hip hop. And, you know, I know our guys like Budsby were just rubbing their hands together like Birdman because this was more of what they want to see out of the world. But I was just like, man, nah, Drake's not pop. Now, I did proceed to laugh at the rest of the clip. Him saying that he's shopping music and he's what you hear in Target. Yeah. And, you know, him going through, man, look at all the SKUs. Look at all the SKUs. Hilarious. But I understand his point about commercialism. Very much so. I understood his overall point. But I don't know if I would say Drake is pop. He's still hip hop. He makes very commercial poppy music, but he's still hip hop.
Yeah, I hate when sometimes the legends, they get into this mode of thinking kind of like this. I don't know if this was specific to Drake, what Mos is saying here of he makes commercialized music. He does, but that's not really his fault, maybe, is what I'm trying to say. Drake is a rapper. I hate when, and the thing is, these days, you see so many artists get to a point, they make 3 rap albums, and they're like think of Lil Yachty, for example. Now he's like, I'm not a rapper, I'm an artist, I do this now. Like, you've never, ever heard Drake come out and say, I'm not a rapper, I'm this. 100% of the way that Drake has came through, he's been a rapping ass hip hop guy. Even if sometimes he does R&B, That's his shtick. But that doesn't make him any less of a rapper. There's never a moment where they came out and were like, LL Cool J's not a rapper. He does pop music. They play his songs in Macy's. It's like, no, it's LL Cool J. He has a different style. Like, that's just what it is. You can't take that tag away from Drake. He is hip hop all the way through, even if some of the stuff you don't really like.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna hit you with the dance hall music. He's gonna hit you with the accents and everything else, but he's still making hip hop music, and we know where he started. Like, his first album is a very, very hip hop album. The mixtape that put him on is a very, very hip hop album. I mean, his first like major single, "Best I Ever Had," that is a hip hop record.
It's a
like
boom back track. Yeah,
the drums on it are very boom bappy.
Mm-hmm.
No, and we know all the music that he likes. We know that he likes like Little Brother, and we know that at one point he was
likes
a big,
most
big like Joe Budden fan. Exactly, like you said, he's a Yasin fan, and so. This is also why I thought it was funny at one point when Joe put out his critique of the album, and he was like, man, what happened to you putting out the music for us? I'm like, hey, man, I hate to break it to you, but I think Joe realized at one point that this relationship is one-sided, that he loves you guys. You don't love him the same way. He's not going to keep putting out music for you when you guys just keep shitting on him.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I understand exactly what Drake does. Why would I cater to you guys when you guys are the first one to call me this, say I'm not a rapper, say I'm pop, I'm this person? Like, why would I cater to you? And look at we know what Drake's fan base is. Like, I hate when people are like, they could probably pull up a clip of me being like, he needs to do this, but like, honestly, Drake makes music for the people he makes it for, and why would he stop to make it for some dusty old heads? I'm not gonna change my whole perspective just because Joe Budden and fucking anybody, Method Man or Yasin Bey are saying that I make this. No, I know my market. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna continue to do it. And we kind of act like he does it. That last EP he put out was like a straight hip hop record. I mean, where's the line?
I don't know, man.
I have nothing constructive to add because I'm not a Drake fan. I'm sorry.
You New York.
I definitely laughed as well at a lot of other people that were like, Most is right. And I'm just like, yeah, but I feel like if Drake was from New York, y'all would love him.
Totally.
Like, New Yorkers would
That's
absolutely
how New Yorkers run. Yeah.
I mean, if my 2 cents on it is I put Drake in the same category as I put The Weeknd in. You make your music for who you make your music for. Same with Doja, same with Nicki. You make your music who you make your music for. And why would you block your bag because X, Y, and Z don't like your music? Okay, and music is subjective. I don't care if you like it. The youth them love it, and I'm rich. Sorry. I don't
listen, man.
Do love it.
Exactly. And I mean, as somebody that loves both of these artists, I am a Drake fan. I am a Most fan. Most has made music that was very much a soundtrack for early parts of my life. Thanks. So I'm not going for any slander on any Most out of this. Like, I've seen people that like, who was Most
I love
to speak?
Most Def.
Like, no, Most is that guy. We're not
name 5 Most Def tracks. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll name 5 Most Def tracks. F you, mind your business. That's more. That's okay. How about that? How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, we're not doing any of that. But yeah, there was that. Then we had Lupe and his never-ending beef with Kid Cudi. That was also on my timeline yesterday.
They're still beefing?
They're beefing hard. Well, one side is beefing really hard.
One side is still very angry at the other.
I feel like this was in 2016.
Oh, it's forever.
No, Lou is not letting this go. He just wants his conversation. And so at one point, he was doing all the tweeting. He explained again what his beef with Cudi is for people that don't remember. And then Cudi was like, hey, bro, sent you a DM. And then it was like, it's all love, man. I'm going to reach out to you. And so I thought it was over. I was like, hey, man, it's great. We're up now, man. It's finally over. Then my man Luke came back out with some more tweets like, nah, that ain't good enough.
I like
man,
that.
This lying ass nigga.
That's just like, take that apology back. I'm like, yo, what? 30, like, people are already writing that. I've seen news articles of like Lupe and Cudi squashed the beef because we got to a point. I talked about it in about 3 or 4 of my group chats, and we were all like, wow, this is crazy. They squashed the beef. And then 10 minutes later, Lupe was like, nah, we ain't squashed shit. I'm like, I still want to, it's still on site, is what he said. I'm like, yo, this is real.
I feel for Lupe.
I think so.
I feel for Lupe because he's in that position where something happened that clearly really upset him. Yeah. On a deep level, and because other people weren't there to see it, they're just kind of like, well, get over it. And I've definitely been in that place where I'm mad at something, and other people aren't as mad as me, so they're just like, why don't you just get over it? Nah, man, fuck all that.
The only issue is like, if you beat up Kid Cudi, like, how does that sound? You know what I mean?
Okay, are we still fighting? Okay, I think it depends on how deep it is. How mad are you? Are you going to fight?
Lupe's really mad. I don't know what it is.
He's really mad.
Like he is really mad. He's not happy about something.
You don't beat up Kid Cudi though.
Like, it don't sound right. It just don't sound right.
I mean, talk shit, get hit, but you gonna beat up Kid Cudi? Are you gonna beat up Lupe Fiasco? Like
on the opposite too. It's like, oh, you're fighting Lupe. Y'all are not fighting rappers. Why are y'all fighting?
No.
That's like when Old Boy tried to fight Frank Ocean. Why are you fighting Frank Ocean? What are you doing?
Frank Ocean and Chris Brown got in a fight. It's like, why are y'all fighting? Like,
well, Chris Brown is a light skin with something to prove. I can say that because I'm light skinned. I'm not a Chris Brown fan either, but he act like a light skin with something to prove. You're rich. What are you doing? But come on now.
Yeah, hilarious. But yeah, very funny time on the timeline of watching people react to Lupe tweets, and then assuming it was over, and then it was just like he popped back out with the Braun tweets of "I'm not finished with you yet."
I love that he ended on that note. Like, nah, this is not good. Like, you owe me more. He said, "I want the real apology, and then I'll be done with you." It's like,
what is the real apology? Did he give him the corporate apology?
I think he just wants to have a conversation with him. I think at this point he feels like he's ducked him for all this time. And I think a part of it is seeing like him being very like apologetic and everything with the Kanye thing yesterday. He was like, nah, all right, man. Mm-hmm. So you gonna accept this dude and forgive this dude, but that's what it is. You still ain't gave me an apology? Nah, bro.
and like if we're talking about like history and we're men and we're all this shit, you're apologizing to me on Twitter. It's not the same. Like, that don't hit as hard as you calling me or me seeing you face to face and you saying this. Like, some words on the internet, this could be your publicist shooting out a tweet.
Yeah,
look,
I get it. But yeah, very entertaining few hours of Twitter. And of course, in Lupe fashion on Twitter, he deleted all his tweets afterwards because, as he at one point tweeted, "I delete my tweets like I ate my sweets." Yeah. So all of those tweets are gone.
As someone who does the same thing, you put out a tweet and you're like, yeah, fuck that nigga. And then you go back to your Twitter and you're like,
delete it. You got to, man.
This. Yeah.
That's why I shit post on Twitter. I delete my Facebook post. Like, I don't care. I'll be emotional. Y'all gonna get these emotions, but then I come back the next day like, I'll go ahead and delete that.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm very much a tweet deleter, man. Sometimes you gotta get that reaction out and then get rid of it.
Yeah. Like it feels good on the initial, and then legit like 30 seconds later, sometimes I'm like, I don't like that.
I don't want to deal with all these reactions.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with the reactions.
I don't want your opinion, man. I want to get my reaction out. I don't want your opinion to my reaction. Like, I'm good.
But if we put out the tweet with the "you can't respond to this," then people are gonna think we're crazy. Like, if I turn off comments, like,
then
I don't want your comment. Yeah, exactly.
And if I respond to your comment with my comment, now I'm witch hunting and I got a bigger following and I'm a bully.
Yeah, I just listen, man. I just think some people that respond to big accounts that way need to understand that even people with big accounts just want to vent sometimes. And it's okay to just let people vent without you then coming in and then lecturing us or whatever. I've had people do this to me more than once. I've had people come in and start DMing me off of something I tweeted to lecture me about something I vented about. And I'm just like, yo, shut up. Like,
why are you in my DMs with this, bro? I don't want to hear this.
Like, you put yourself in a position to have that person say, so you want the attention on you. I'm from the Bronx, and all we do is cut ass. Cutting ass is a love language over here. So if you want to insert your opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion right back. And when I'm funnier than you, you're going to be like, oh, my God, Kristen, you're a bully. I cannot believe you would do this. And I'm going to quote tweet it and be like, oh, my God, Kristen, you're a bully. And now I'm getting DMs from Shaw like, Kristen, you can't do that.
Yeah, you wildin'. You cutting too much ass over here.
Yeah. But, as always, if you want to send us your super chats, send us your super chats. If you also want to send us humper chats, you can send us humper chats via humperchat.com/Fightful. I don't know if we have any humper chats.
A lot of news this week, man. I honestly thought we were going to start out this pod with tears from my co-host because his mans went down, but we haven't got the official word yet. We're still in the early stages of what's going on here.
Listen, man. We'll get into that in a minute, but I just, I wanted to start with other things that I thought was actually funny, man. And I thought that
that one's not funny.
I thought that the Most Def clip was very, very funny. I was very entertained by it.
No, the Most Def is so funny because, like, legit, we were about to end the pod last week, and I saw that. I was looking for something, and I saw that clip, and I was like, no, we gotta go because this is an hour's worth of work. And I kind of love when it's had time to die down. Everybody's got their little discourse in about it. So, you know, I kind of like when our podcast is on Saturday when we've missed a week's worth of stuff, because some stuff could die down. Some stuff happens on Tuesday, and I'm like, man, I do not want to get to this on Saturday, and it's dead by Saturday. So lucky we have a Saturday pod sometimes.
Boy, when I tell you, man, sometimes I be seeing stuff and people like, man, can't wait to see the bros talk about that. I'm like, man, I sure hope they forget about that by Saturday.
I'm saying, I'm like, the bros do not want to talk about that, I think, you know?
I broke my camera.
Yeah,
I don't know how I broke my camera, but I broke my camera.
that Bronx energy.
South Bronx. South Bronx.
She just a maniacal laugh. We got a couple of super chats before we move forward here. J Esquire 13 says, went down a YouTube rabbit hole and watched Blind Fury freestyles this morning. Y'all remember him on 106 in Park?
Come on,
man.
A legend.
Fury.
Come on, pop legend, bro. Who you think you're talking to here? Of course,
yes.
we remember Blind Fury, man.
Like, there was a time when that time right there was like 106 in Park, Freestyle Fridays, and then 8 Mile, and then MTV was doing freestyles. Like, everybody was doing freestyle. I wanted to be a battle rapper so bad. It was like the beginning stage of my battle of being a rapper, and I was like, I have to get in these rings. A terrible battle rapper. I never finished it. It just wasn't really my style. But yeah, remembering those days, Blind Fury being there. There's some like Recognize, who's now a part of Mayday, and Marv One. Like, there's all kind of people that were getting down over there.
There was a guy who I think was Korean or Chinese who used to
rap. About Jin?
That's Jin.
Yeah, he was nasty.
Unfortunately, he had that terrible single with Def Jam that now people remember him of because of the Speak Chinese record. But man, if you were there, you were there. 106 in Park. He was Mr. 106 in Park on Freestyle Fridays.
That's wild, because I was just watching. There's this thing on YouTube. It's like 10 hours of DMX on BT or something. Part of that they show like a Rough Riders documentary or whatever, and they talk about Jin when they signed Jin, and there's like a marketing lady. She's like, it's all my fault. She's like, I marketed Jin's record with fortune cookies, and I was like, that's like, he was doomed from the beginning. Like, you guys gave him this racist marketing thing.
Damn.
What did you expect him to do? And like, from then on, he didn't really make it. But that's kind of how it is with battle rappers. Is it's hard for them to cross over. Like, there was people who was the guy. Poster Boy was another
boy. Wow,
he was another big 106 in Park guy, and he never crossed over, but he killed it on that show. And it's just like, there's just circumstances and things that go into crossing over from being a killer battle rapper into, you know, having dope singles.
I have to be right back. My camera says, you know what? In the name of God, I rebuke you.
You're good.
I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. Hold on. Sorry, I don't have our bam. Yeah, but yeah, Jin, unfortunate marketing alone, was a really good freestyle, really good battle rapper.
Fortune cookies, you guys. This is crazy.
Terrible. They set him up to fail with that one.
Who was the homie? We talked about battle rap on here. What was his name? Swan?
You talking about homie with the gray sweater that was on
MTV?
Right?
Yeah. He had the nappy hair.
Yep. Yeah. What a time.
Different times, man. I mean, I guess battle rap is taking a different form, a different stage at this point. Like, we talked to DNA on the pod I thought about recently. I was like, damn, we talked to DNA. That's really dope. It's like the place that it's gone from there to where it is now is wild.
Yeah, to segue battle rap and rap, if you are going to be in Tampa for Royal Rumble, you should check out Battle Rumble, which will have a bunch of battle rappers. Homie Mega Ran is a big part of the production of the show. He will be in the building. A bunch of rappers T'Challa will be there. So it will be a good place where rap and wrestling kind of collides, and it's all happening during Royal Rumble weekend. I believe it's Friday night. Because Rumble is Saturday, so it's Friday night.
Yes, very, very, very upset that I will be in California and not at this Battle Rumble because it's catered to me. It seems like exactly something
right. Get some bars off?
But yeah, not for me. I'm gonna be at home like a loser.
You was trying to hop in that cipher and get some bars off?
Come on, you know what time it is. Me and Mega Ran and Top Dollar and DNA and yeah, come on. It's hot. Aaron Busby says Lupe hate Kid Cudi is on the same level as Cornette's hate for Vince Russo.
Never ending, bro. It's never ending, man.
It's what's the resolution? Lupe boxes him and then that's it.
They're eventually gonna have a conversation. I would hope.
Because it seems like Lupe is he accepted that apology, which means like he can accept something a little bit deeper.
I think that he assumed that apology was leading to an actual conversation.
Oh, gotcha.
It didn't go anywhere. Because he then was like, wait a minute, I didn't get no DM for you. You said you sent me a DM. I didn't see no DM.
Kid Cudi was like, we're cool. We're out of here. I washed my hands of this. And Lupe's like, no, it's a little bit more than just your little one apology.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know the specifics. So
yeah. Arduit says, happy Grapsody fam. Thanks for the content as always. Shout out to wrestling. It's so on fire right now. A new golden time for performers and fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the golden era again.
A lot going on.
It's like the best and healthiest way for wrestling to exist is if everybody's cooking. And it seems like that's at the time, but we're really going to have to get into the Japanese scene because I don't know if it's the same for them over there.
Worrying.
It's worrying. That's a great way to describe it.
Very worrying. Wait, I think. Hold on.
Crest is back.
See if we got Cresta back.
Bro, my computer say I need to restart, baby girl, because I don't know what you did.
Yeah. We can see you, so.
Yeah, we can say you're
good.
I'm good. I'm good to go. Let's go. What we talk about now?
All right.
We're still going through some super chats.
We're on some super chats.
Hey.
Chris says, how much loss is it to lose Will Osprey and Okada for New Japan?
Oof.
It's definitely. Oof.
I've got 2 cents and almost $1 on this because if you think about it, when AEW started, you lost the Bucks.
Yep.
You lost Cody. You lost pretty much all the Bullet Club. And
Kenny.
now you're losing Okada and Osprey.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure you've got a new generation and you've got old boy as head booker now. So I don't think New Japan is in trouble, but it's definitely a
Well, I guess we can get fully into it because I do think that like 4 years ago when AEW started, there were a lot of people that worried that creating another alternative in the U.S. with a bunch of people from New Japan was going to be a problem for New Japan because you're kind of taking some of the business, and some of the same with Ring of Honor. There was worries for what that meant for Ring of Honor and New Japan, and now 4 years in, we're kind of seeing the reality of it that now when you have an alternative in the U.S., and you have somebody else that can offer a big contract, that can offer certain things, it's difficult. And I think the other thing that people are not recognizing with this is a lot of these guys from New Japan, whether it be guys like Prince Devitt, AJ Styles, Shinsuke. A lot of these guys eventually make the jump because that style of wrestling is hard on your body.
Yes.
It is very hard on your body. So at some point, people want to cash out towards the end of their career and then maybe still wrestle and have a career, but they just don't want to have that same kind of wear and tear on their body. It happens with a lot of the big names over, and I think that's part of the reason that Osprey made the jump. So it isn't that surprising that Okada eventually wanted to make the jump. Okada's 35.
You bring up a really good point there because getting your ass beat by Ishii for 45 minutes on a random Wednesday or wrestling The Miz for 6 minutes on Raw and surfing with your homeboy Shinsuke Nakamura, and then that's what I was kind of saying a few days ago when I was reacting to the news live. Okada, if his goal is to go and be at WrestleMania and go and have a chill rest of his career, he's earned that. He's had what I consider the greatest professional wrestling match of all time. If people say, what's pro wrestling? I'm going to show him Kenny and Okada. Like, he's done it. He has earned the right to go and have a relaxed schedule. And yeah, like you're saying, doing the G1, wrestling this high impact style on a yearly basis wears down on your body, and some people want to relax.
Yeah, this guy has, he's won 4 G1 climaxes.
While getting his ass beat in all 4 of those.
Yeah, thank you, Caden. By the way, Okada is 36 years old. And to put this all in context, of course, we got the shocker news on Thursday night that Okada will be leaving New Japan at the end of this month. On January 31st. His contract expires. He's still got some dates that he's going to fulfill in February, I believe. He worked the show this morning, our time, last night, Japan's time, and it looked really wild to see, like him treating it like this is going to be his last time in that arena and saying thank you to those fans, being very teary-eyed. It's just like, I just cannot wrap my head around the idea of Okada not wrestling in Japan. That just sounds insane. When you think about how many people have made it their goal to go to Japan and wrestle Okada? Like, that's kind of like the Mount Everest for a lot of people. We just saw Bryan Danielson do it. And so just to imagine that this guy that has been like the standard bearer for New Japan for all this time, for about 12 years at this point, is not going to be there. I just cannot fathom that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But then you also pair that with like the rumors that we heard about other contracts that are up. We heard the El Fantasmo's contract is up. The Tama Tonga stuff that just popped up right after Wrestle Kingdom, his contract's up.
Bunch of the Bullet Club guys.
Yeah, so Jay White just left. Will Osprey just left. There's a lot of big names kind of leaving at the same time. And then you couple that also with the president stuff that we heard right after there was news that Okada could leave, that he wasn't a fan of the former president. And so we got the announcement right before Wrestle Kingdom that Tanahashi was stepping in as president. And I think some people thought, all right, that's it. He'll be back. This will satisfy him. And so getting this news so abruptly and him ending his run so abruptly kind of tells me that there's still kind of an issue with that, kind of an issue with just like the changing of the guard in terms of
something else.
There's something else there.
Like it's too little, too late,
Yeah.
I do think that it's a mix of more than one thing, and I think it would be very naive of me to sit here and act like the presidential change had nothing to do with any of this because of the timing of it. I just think that it's just other things. Like I said, I think the timing with him being 36 and possibly wanting to work less taxing style, I think that it could be just a bunch of things happening at once.
This is when I got the news. I got the news right before we went on the ROH post show, and I'm still can't believe it. It's like this guy is the star of this company. They built him from the ground up to be their top guy. He main evented their head show numerous times. He was the leader, like Phil said. Their goal was not only to wrestle in Japan, but to wrestle Okada specifically. And all the top guys in every other Japanese promotion, they're all like, I want to wrestle Okada. Okada's the guy. Like everybody, the whole Japanese culture of wrestling is centered around this guy. And for him to just all of a sudden, they're like, oh, he's leaving on the 31st. He's gone. Yeah, and he's so synonymous with that company is wild.
I mean, to contextualize this for some people, this would be like Roman tomorrow just going, hey, leaving WWE. Like, wait,
legit.
What?
Legit. Like if tomorrow Roman was like, I'm out, they're like, oh, Roman's going to be done. This is like, there's been times Bret Hart's left before, Hogan's left, like all these people have left before, but they weren't the tippy top. This company is surrounding them.
Yeah.
And this is like New Japan is Okada and he's leaving.
Yeah. That's what I've been thinking. Like when you see people talk about guys like Osprey, or like I said, Nakamura and some of these other guys that have left. These are guys that have like had a big successful stint with New Japan. But this was the guy. We're talking about a guy that is main evented Wrestle Kingdom 8 times. Yeah. 4-time G1 Climax winner, 2-time New Japan Cup winner. This multiple time champion, longest reigning IWGP heavyweight champion, 702 days, one of the most dominant champions of our time. Like, Nah, man.
It's
this is
been
a big deal.
It's been okay that Okada, that Nakamura, Osprey, Kenny, they've been okay that all those guys have left because we got Okada. Like anybody can go that they want because we got the big dog. We'll be fine. But it's not like that anymore. It's now like it's not starting from scratch because they've been building the next generation. I think the Young Lions, they got some talent there, but like as far as the main event scene right now,
it's a shambles.
Tough, yeah.
And I think it makes it even weirder that he didn't, because he wasn't champion, and we're now looking at Naito as champion in the Sonata run. He didn't kind of anoint the next guy. He didn't beat. He didn't give the next guy the rub to move up and to step into his shoes because, of course, when Okada came in and the Rainmaker shock happened in 2012, he beat Tanahashi. That was kind of like the passing of guard. Of course, like they had their, famous rivalry that went on from there, but you could still feel like they were grooming Okada to be next up after Tanahashi. Yeah. And I don't feel like they've groomed anybody that's going to step into Okada's shoes yet. They have groomed like a few guys that can, be the face of the company moving forward. But it is weird that Okada's abruptly leaving and nobody has gotten that rub to step into his shoes. I don't know, man. It's very bizarre. And that's why I'm like, I don't think it's just a matter of him deciding it's time for me to gracefully bow out and, start wrestling other styles, move into like the U.S. market. It's got to be more to it than that. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
I choose to be optimistic. I just want to believe that the wrestling market is booming, that now you have an option to go from New Japan to either AEW, hell, even TNA if you want to. I don't think TNA can afford it.
They got a dog in the fight. I don't know.
I would listen as somebody who covers TNA every I would love that. Okada.
Listen, you know how I've said and talked about TNA, but at this point, I think they have a dog in the fight. I don't know. I don't know what Okada wants to do at all. He might want to come and wrestle 2 times a month at TNA, and that's it. I don't know.
That would be cute too, because you wrestle 2 times a month, and you could do whatever else you want. You could go hang out with shit.
They surfing together. I'm telling you.
Okada left New Japan to go on his big excursion, and he went to TNA. Yeah. He was so upset with that TNA run that he didn't come back
for a long time.
Over a decade. Yeah. And you think that he's gonna leave New Japan and possibly get this big bag on the U.S. market, and he's gonna go to TNA? No, he's not. I hate to break it to you guys, but he's not.
Yo, Phil, let me be delusional. Let me be Tony Storm right now, please.
Yeah, but I think both of you guys kind of made some good points here. The landscape, what Phil was saying, the landscape is so different than 4 years ago. It used to be like WWE was the only big dog in town, and it's like, do you want to go to if you want to go to America, you can just go to WWE. Yeah. And a lot of guys are like, it's not my time, or I want to be the biggest guy in Japan, so I'm gonna just stay in New Japan. Now it's like you got AEW where some of these guys can continue doing exactly what they were doing in New Japan over in America. It's a different climate now, and then also WWE's in a different space too. So Okada's probably thinking New Japan, and apparently there's some money issues. There's all these things on the back of it. He's thinking, yo, I could go over there. They're gonna love me. They're gonna lay out the red carpet for me. Like, I'm out. Like, what? Yeah, but I would think New Japan they should have been laying out everything that you could have whatever you want. We'll rename the company Okada Con, Okada Japan Wrestling. Like, I don't know how they let this happen at this point.
Same way they let AJ Styles go back in the day. You fumbled the bag. You fumbled the bag. You dropped it.
Maybe they thought maybe they thought it would never happen. Like, there's no way he's gonna leave.
I mean, I do think he was the closest that most people would assume was a lifer over there. Yeah. But as we've seen with most of these things, maybe there's no such thing as a lifer in wrestling, man. Because
as soon as I saw Adam Copeland in AEW, there's everything. It's that was a number 1 lifer in WWE for me. If he could leave, there's nothing means anything at this point.
I do agree that the market has changed, but with the market changing, like 4 years ago, I'd have been over the moon about Okada coming to the U.S., but now I'm just kind of like, out of these 2 big companies and the success that WWE is having, and when you look at like all of the people that AEW signed, does either of these companies really need Okada?
Are they going to use him properly?
I mean, whether they use him properly, I guess, is along the same lines. But like in terms of like right now, WWE is hotter than it's been in a long time. Their revenue is up. Why do they need Okada right now? Like you've got like all of this stuff going into WWE in the WrestleMania season. You've got talk of The Rock coming back. You've got talk of Brock coming back. You've got Cody. You've got CM Punk. You've got all this stuff happening in your main event scene. Do you really need Okada over there at this moment?
I think you're bringing up a pretty good point here because both sides, it's like, and then if you go through AEW, like they got, if everybody's slotted in a spot, like where does Okada land? You have to put Okada at the top of any class that he goes into because he's Okada.
Yeah.
Where does Okada fit into this? That sounds crazy as hell. If any, the main thing I think is like the person that needs them the most is New Japan. Like if we land, it's like New Japan needs you more than anybody.
That's kind of where I land with this. Is I feel like he was a lot more beneficial to New Japan in this current climate. Like even with AEW, like with the signings they've made recently, like Jay White hasn't been there a whole year yet. Right. Osprey hasn't even started. He just signed a contract. He hasn't even showed up yet, and now we're already talking about bringing in Okada. Like, I have to assume Osprey coming in, you're going to have plans for him in your main event scene heading into All In a few months. So where do you then slot Okada?
I'm back on my TNA bullshit. I already know what you said, Phil, but he was on the show last Thursday. He kissed the logo. This is a different TNA, man. Scott D'Amore is a different guy. Hell, Trinity went there. You betting on yourself. You are transforming. Listen, I'm back on my bullshit.
Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this, man. I love Trinity to death, but Trinity is not Kazuchika Okada, bro.
If you put Okada in TNA get a better deal. You can start paying people, and TNA be a viable third option. Listen, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm that guy right now. I'm that guy.
The issue is Okada's not like anything we've ever seen. Like you can't compare.
He's already a certified top guy. He's already a guy that is in the conversation for best wrestler of all time. And like, I don't even think that there's a debate for him being in that conversation because, like I said, he's the guy that everybody considered the Mount Everest. We saw Osprey for the longest consider him the guy to beat. We saw how long it took Omega to beat him, and in the process, that's what made Kenny Omega Kenny Omega. AJ Styles going over there and beating him minted him with Japan. It minted him as leader of Bullet Club. There's so many guys that, like I said, made such a big part of their career on wrestling or beating Okada. So it's not like, oh, well, you're just bringing in some hot free agent. You're bringing in somebody else's top guy.
Yeah.
I mean, is he somebody else's top guy? Because New Japan, obviously, I agree with you in the sense of if I was New Japan, I'd be doing stunts, tricks, ducks, and dives trying to make sure you stay. And if I was WWE and AEW, I'd be doing stunts, tricks, ducks, and dives to get you to come.
Yeah, he is the top guy because the issue with New Japan these last year or so is none of the champions look like anything because Okada's still there. It's like, oh yeah, you're the champion, but you're not that guy. Like you don't have his aura, you don't have his main event, you don't have anything compared to Okada. It's like they're IWGP champion, but they're really fighting to get on the level of Okada, and nobody has gotten there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing I said like earlier with AEW and how you're still building. And I mean, again, I totally recognize that in 2018 when All In happened, part of the vision of them having a company was a company that could bring a lot of like the U.S. indie guys together with New Japan guys.
Right.
And so partially I understand some people being excited for this and feeling like, man, this has been the vision from the beginning. Okada was on the card for All In. He wrestled a guy that we do not speak of. Really, really good match, but we don't speak of that guy. And he's been connected with the Elite for the longest. He's clearly good friends with the Bucks.
Makes sense for him to go to AEW because he has some connection.
And so like when you really think about it, like the idea of AEW in 2014 or 2015, 2024 or 2025, having Okada, Jay White, Osprey, possibly Ibushi at some point, all in the same roster. That's
New Japan.
That's massive.
It's New Japan.
That's massive.
Yeah,
but then at the same time, what then is the appeal of doing Forbidden Door? Because like if you're doing partnership shows with that, like who on the other side of that feels like a big enough deal to have those big matches with?
And if I'm New Japan, it's gonna probably start to look a type of way if you watch the other show and all your guys over there. I'm like, what's going on here? This feels like, are they using Forbidden Door like Natty Neidhart is using the dungeon to recruit people for WWE?
Yeah, I mean,
because Natty is definitely using the dungeon to recruit people for WWE. That's
absolutely
just another side project that we could talk
more
about
power
later.
to her. But I guess my point with saying all of this is that, man, it's just weird going from a place where WWE was considered the talent hoarding place, and now you have two really big juggernauts, and it should be enough room for other places to exist. But it's like, man, do I really need all of these wrestlers to go to two companies? Like, can we have a Japanese scene?
TNA,
Oh my god!
I don't know, man. But
now, Phil, that's a factor too that people haven't been. I mean, Brian Alvarez kind of shut it down on one of his tweets when someone was like, "Well, what if he's just leaving New Japan to go to All Japan or to go to Noah or to go to one of these other Japanese promotions to become the top guy?" Is that not a viable option, you think?
That'd be interesting. I don't know if that's the case. I do think that would be wild if, Okada showed up at Pro Wrestling Noah and he's like the new top guy over there. That'd be wild.
We've seen it before in Japanese culture, so
it would be unheard of. I'd be interested to see if that's the case. I kind of get the feeling though, like I said earlier, that part of this is that, he's worked that style for so long and he might want to work a less taxing style and lesser schedule. That leads me to believe he's coming to the U.S. Of course, we've got the reports that WWE is very interested, which, of course, no brainer.
Not surprised.
AEW is interested. I mean, hearing people are interested at this point isn't really news. It's Okada. Of course, people are interested.
Better be interested. What you mean?
Exactly. Like, what you talking about?
So, I don't know, man. I think out of that, it would be really cool to see something like Okada at WrestleMania wrestling like Gunther. Like, are you kidding me? That sounds amazing.
That match, actually, I didn't know I needed that until you said something.
There's so many options with WWE that sound good, but I just still fall back on like, where does he really fall on that roster? Does he really need to be there? I feel like AEW is a better fit just off top, but even there, it's just like with what the main event scene is now, and they just put the title on Joe. You've got stories that looks like in place for the World Championship. Where would you slot him within the next few months? And then, like I said, you also got Osprey coming in. I don't know, man.
What if you're AEW though, and you're like, I don't give a shit, dude. I got all the best wrestlers in the world. Okada's on the market, dude. We're gonna put him in the fucking main event. We're gonna figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if you can get Okada, you just figure it out. But I just mean, like right now, if you got people that were trending upwards, like somebody like Swerve. What does this mean for Swerve? Because Swerve had a fantastic 2023. You put somebody like Okada in the main event scene.
He has to be. You got it. Like he has to be in the title matches. He has to be up there.
That's what I'm saying. You have other guys that have like organically kind of moved into that title scene. Then you've got somebody that comes in straight away that was already a top guy. He's already an established star. Then what do you do? What do you do with that? And I don't know the answer to that, but I of course think that AEW makes the most sense. And I also think like with all the ties he's got there, whether it be with the Elite, with the Bucks, when you look at certain stuff like the Bucks are doing an EVP storyline right now, and this guy could potentially be leaving. That could be the biggest free agent get for them and storyline for them.
Storyline we brought in Okada.
That works, but I just also, like I said, I have my reservations for what this means on wrestling as a whole, but I don't want to continue to, rant and rave about that.
I saw someone say, go for it, Cresta.
I don't think you're wrong, because I think we're seeing that too in WWE with LA Knight, with Cody finishing the story with The Rock, because it's like, we want The Rock. The Rock is such a draw, and if The Rock is free, absolutely we're going to book The Rock. But then what happens to Cody? Then what happens to LA Knight? what happens to all these people. You seen it even with Becky. Everyone was cheering for Becky, and then you trying to force this Charlotte Flair Ronda Rousey situation. Yeah. So listen, I don't care how much you hate on TNA. I'm always gonna root for TNA now. I'm a TNA shill. I don't care because I think unless you put Okada on Ring of Honor realistically and get Ring of Honor a TV deal, any main event scene, he's gonna mess up. Straight up.
He's not going to Ring of Honor.
Put Okada on Ring of Honor is crazy. So I saw someone also say on the same. I saw a tweet of someone being like, well, if he goes to WWE, you don't think he goes to NXT first?
Stop it.
Like, I had to. I turned my phone off. I was
stop,
like,
bro. Oh, the thought of Okada
in TNA than NXT. Knock it off.
The thought of Okada walking in like with like the Steve Buscemi meme with like the skateboard and the hat backwards hat. Like that sounds absolutely horrible. Please don't do this to us.
Okada on NXT on CW. Oh my God!
Please cut it out, bro.
Stop
it.
Okada versus Carmelo Hayes.
This is wild. This is wild stuff. But yeah, I think where I'm landing on this is I kind of wish he would have just signed back with New Japan. With all this you guys are talking about, it's going to be so difficult to slot him in where he deserves to be slotted in. And you don't want to fuck up the legacy of Okada by doing in either company by putting him in some bullshit. Like he's on the Miz TV and
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
Stop it.
I don't want to see him on the Grayson Waller effect either.
I don't want that. 0%.
Stop this. I've seen a few people in our chat say they sent Nakamura to NXT. One, NXT was a different brand then. That's just one.
Way different.
Totally different brand. And then two, as much as I love Nakamura is not Kazuchika Okada. I think, again, you got to contextualize what Okada's value is, what he meant to New Japan for the past 12 years. This guy was the guy. Again, main evented 8 Wrestle Kingdoms, bro. 8. Like, again.
In perspective, I think Hogan was in the first 8 WrestleManias. All straight. Like, that's perspective.
That's their Hogan, bro.
8 times, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, again, over 700 days as champion, holds the record with that belt of title defenses with 12. No. No. We're not talking about the same guy, bro. This is legitimately one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. You can't just throw him on NXT, man. No way.
I would hope not. That would be
the worst thing ever. Like
disgusting.
Which I don't think that's a conversation. I think if you sign him, there's no way you don't bring him straight to the main roster.
I agree.
I just don't think you can. I mean,
that's like putting CM Punk on NXT. What are you doing?
Yeah, you can't. This is already a ready-made guy.
Yeah, no. Now, I do think that the idea of him being the first Japanese WWE champion is cool, but I also don't know if I believe that they will handle that well.
Nope. I have no trust.
I mean, but I think wherever he goes, I mean, he has a chance of doing that. He has a chance of also being the first Japanese AEW world champion as well. I don't know. Very exciting news in some ways. Very worrying news for New Japan. I don't know what this means. And, of course, I'm saying this as somebody that loves New Japan. And I just don't want to see this company I don't want to see this company struggle moving forward. But, boy, all of this news does not look good. All of the rumblings around it don't look good. The rumors and stuff does not sound good.
Right. We got a few super chats centering around this, so let's get into those. NYU's99 says, I'm happy to see Cresta on Grapsody again. Shout out to Cresta. Also, if WWE picks him up, do we get Okada versus Drew, or is it more likely Drew could meet Okada in AEW?
I don't know, but I have to tell you, I think since Drew came back, he's one of the most interesting wrestling characters there is. I think all of his promos have been hitting. I think all of his character stuff feels natural. It makes sense. We might have had Drew fucked up, man. This guy's been doing incredible work since he came back. And I like the idea of him against Okada, wherever that lands. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Drew thinks exactly what you said. I think he knows that they got him fucked up. He's like, you guys got me slotted in a position that I need to be way higher than. And I'm going to show you exactly why. Before he showed them by leaving the company and coming back. Now he's showing them in the own company what he could do. Like, another talent. Like, how do you slot Okada above like Drew, Lashley, like these guys that are like, you know what I mean? Like on the come up, like you're saying, like ready for those spots, and then Okada's just gonna come and swing. See, I think it'll be way different in WWE. They won't immediately slot him into where he needs to be at because they don't work like that.
I agree with that because Okada needs to straight up come in and beat Roman. I'm gonna keep it funky with you all the way. He needs to come in Mania or Rumble and just straight up beat Roman, and that needs to be the holy crap. We got Okada, and Okada on the first day ends Roman's historic run. I don't think that's gonna happen. Do that. He's gonna get the same old blue skidoo. There's always another oops. So I mean, he's been losing to the same Formioli for the past how long now? There's going to be another Oos. Your guy's going to sign Jason for 2, and then he's going to come out. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Don't do this to me, man. Don't do this.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right. Chris says, if Okada goes to AEW, should New Japan stop working with AEW? Tony keeps stealing their talent.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's a partnership. I don't think it has anything to do with Tony per se that this is happening. I feel like. It does help that there's another alternative in America for wrestlers to go to, and Okada has ties there. But I also feel like this stuff with Okada isn't just about AEW. I feel like this has more to do with what's going on with him in Japan, and he might just be ready to move. I don't know.
It just keeps looking wild because it's so funny that like in Jay White's situation of like he lost this loser leaves New Japan match. And then he signed with AEW, who has a partnership with New Japan. And then they're making this big giant deal about Will Osprey leaving, and he's never going to work with New Japan again, essentially. And he's going to AEW, who has a partnership with New Japan. And then it might be the same thing with Okada. Like, he's leaving his company that he was the leader in to possibly go to work with AEW, who has a partnership with New Japan. So it's still like, what?
I definitely laughed because I rewatched the Osprey match from Battle in the Valley yesterday. And right after Okada like rainmakers and pins him, I could just picture him like rolling over, like, get out of here. And he's like, yeah, well, see you in a few months.
Osprey's like, wait, what?
I'll see your ass.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen that clip as well of Osprey talking like right after Wrestle Kingdom, and he's talking about how much Okada means to him, and then he was also talking about him again after Battle in the Valley, and he was like, hey, man, I might see him somewhere in the future. And this was before that news came out. I'm like, Osprey knows something that we didn't know. Like,
that's pretty on the nose there, young feller.
That's what I was also thinking about, too. It was like the end of Okada's run. I'm like, wait, he had this epic match with Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Kingdom. Then he just put out a little quick 5-star with Osprey. And his last match in New Japan is going to be with Tanahashi. I'm like, I think he's probably known for a little bit what time it was. I don't know if they knew, but I think he probably knew because it seems like he was on like let me get these matches that people have been talking about for a while, like specifically with Bryan Danielson. Let me get these done because I don't know when I'll be able to get them done again.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate it.
Caden says it's a time to take the book from Gato.
He's made some decisions in recent memory though, where I'm just kind of like, all right, Gato, what you doing, bro? Like, what's up? What are we doing? No, I don't know if it's outright time to get the book away from him, but he's definitely made some decisions that are very like big head scratchers.
I mean, it looks if you look at it in totality, you're like, I mean, damn. If you start breaking it down, you're like, maybe Gato, I don't know what the hell you're doing over there. You lost Okada, like that's what I would be like. How did you lose Okada? What the hell are you guys doing in there?
I don't know if that's Gato's fault though. Like I don't know.
Eloquent says, I don't trust WWE's track record with Japanese wrestlers.
I agree with that.
I also do not. Without going in detail, I concur.
I still see the homeboy Tozawa dancing. I still, it's like the women Japanese wrestlers are being treated better. That's a good sign. But the men, I don't know.
Are they?
Better. I know, not the best, but better.
They're all it's giving
relatively.
It's giving Kabuki Warriors with extra steps. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Single Blue Note the Panda says Okada versus Braun Breaker. Book it, Sean. Y'all are nasty.
That's nasty work.
You guys, why are you doing this to us, man?
Nobody wants that. Coy Stalling says thoughts on Jack Perry when he comes back to AEW since he is a scapegoat with the Bucks and their gimmick. Should he join the Bucks? Imagine the heat.
to Jack Perry. I thought I was about to say Matthew Perry's. That was his dad.
Matthew Perry.
To Matthew.
That's not his dad. This is a
That's
totally
not his
different
dad.
guy. His dad is Luke Perry.
Mixing them white man up. Mixing them white man up.
Yeah, I mean, Battle of the Valley was a interesting show. I mean, again, Battle of the Valley. Battle of the Valley was an interesting show. I enjoyed it for the most part. Opened with on the pre-show, we got some solid matches. We got to see Stephanie Vaquera again. She looked great. But we opened the show with the 6-man match, the the trios match, and I thought this was just gonna be like a fun opening match. We got Shota being Shota. We got a huge pop for Fatu in that crowd. They loved that guy. Cool to see that. But yeah, Shota won this match pretty handedly with a Death Rider. Hint to something else to happen later in the show. One with the Death Rider, walked around handing out wristbands, like doing the Shota thing, fist bumping people, happy to be there. And then all of a sudden, somebody hopped out of the crowd with a lucha mask on and started beating him down. And it was so jarring because it looked like the cameraman didn't know what's happening, and the security people looked like they were trying to stop him because they didn't even know what's happening at first. And then this is Jack Perry with his that 70s show beard and like his black denim, and he then proceeded to tear up his New Japan debut with New Japan, tear up his AEW contract, and put on a armband that said scapegoat.
So does that make the contract null and void? You could just rip it in half?
I don't think that's how a contract works.
It don't work like that? Okay.
It's wrestling, so yeah.
Gotcha.
I thought this was a good way to debut him. I thought that the execution of this was interesting. I'm happy to see Jack back. I'm glad that he's getting to go somewhere else and raise his profile, because it seemed like for a while with AEW they have interest in doing big things with him, but he wasn't quite hitting the mark with some fans. Some people weren't buying the heel stuff, and I think this is going to work. I think he's going to get massive heat off of this. I think going to New Japan and showing people he can work is good. Did not care for the scapegoat thing. I thought that was kind of corny, but
I thought How you the scapegoat when the other guy literally got fired with cause publicly?
And you caused it.
I digress. I digress.
Like, you scapegoat. You caused all this. What are you saying?
I mean, just on the outside looking at it, it's like, to be the scapegoat, you'd have to be the fall guy. The other guy literally got fired, so
he fell.
Yeah, exactly. In order for you to be kind of a scapegoat, it would be kind of like you were being punished, but the other guy was rewarded. That other guy was fired.
Publicly.
And so I thought that the scapegoat thing was corny. I continue to think that anything that references Punk in that kind of way, they shouldn't do. I think they should just move on. And we'll get into that with the Buck stuff as well. I thought the Buck stuff was actually good, though. I thought the execution of this was good. I thought tearing up the AEW contract stuff was fine, but it was just the scapegoat part that I was like, But other than that, I think this is good. I think he's going to have good matches over there. What do you guys think?
How do you feel about Jack Perry as a wrestler, Cresta? Does, beyond what happened, forget about the CM Punk stuff. Were you going to care about Jack Perry ever? Is my first question.
I will say, for full context, I'm a very optimistic wrestling fan. I think everyone has a chance to reinvent themselves, and sometimes I will say Julia Hart is a great example. She was doing that cheerleader gimmick and nobody really gave two shits. And now look at her, spooky as hell, wanting her to lead her own faction. She's a great champion. Nice. I think everyone has a chance to grow and change. I think Jack Perry could have been onto something with the heel gimmick. He could have been onto something with the dinosaur gimmick. Listen, I love a good gimmick, but I think everyone has a chance to change and grow. I'm hopeful for it. I like to see wrestlers wrestle, unless you're a piece of crap. I'm like, boo, this guy stinks. So I will give him credit. I think the Jungle Boy thing kind of is an albatross because it puts you in a box. I don't think there's a way to pivot, especially with the way that he was presented. Not like with Stone Cold, the rattlesnake, he wasn't literally walking around with a snake. You know what I mean? Like he was just being a piece of crap like a snake. Because Randy Orton got the snake gimmick, but he's not walking around with a snake either. So I think there's hope for him. I'm never going to say that it's done, that he's over or like whatever it is, unless he does something really out of pocket, really weird. And even then, this is professional wrestling. There are people who don't deserve to have a career, who enjoy long careers. I don't think it's over for him. I think that it could work. He could beat up Ishii, go slap his titty meat off, what little titty meat he has. I'm with it.
Yeah, this is probably a good way for him to be reintroduced back into the company. I think I think if they would have immediately slotted him back into AEW, there's a stigma around him. The fans are going to feel a type of way, and it would have been some type of way to build him back up. Getting him into New Japan, getting him into this new serious type of thing, I think is the way to go. I think he should lean in more on being a bratty little, bratty fucking, child star of whatever, you know what I mean? Like, lean more into being Jack Perry, the little jerk, instead of trying to be this badass. Because I don't really buy this badass thing.
That's what I think. I think that he was on to something when he was doing the chicken shit heel stuff before he left, and he was running away. I liked all of that stuff. I think that there's good stuff to do here. And again, I think that there is a bunch of potential here. It's, like I said, it was just a scapegoat thing. I was just like, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Like, what is this for? And I get the purpose of it is exactly what it is. You're gonna get fans to debate. Oh, well, was he a scapegoat? Or oh, you guys are just triggered because you're Punk fans. Blah blah blah. It's heat. And it's like, yeah, but those New Japan fans don't care about that. And I think that's my problem with it. It's like you go out there and you do that. Like they don't care. They don't care about why Punk was fired. You're in front of a different audience. They don't care about that. So why are you still doing that? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
It's kind of like to pop the boys in the back. You're like, okay, but that was the boys in the back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the pop fans. If you know, you know. But like, I think like your average New Japan fan does not care about that. And so that was my only gripe with it. But other than that, I think it's exciting. I think it's a good thing for him. New Japan has a bigger imprint in America that gives him room to do more shows. He's probably going to be on the card for New Japan Strong Windy City Riot. That's a good spot for him. And again, if this just means him going overseas and doing other things, exposing himself to another audience, I think that's great.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with doing an excursion. I think New Japan showed that, especially with their young lions. You go somewhere, learn a different style, expose yourself to a different crowd, so you learn how to get over no matter what. Some people can take that and go anywhere with it. Some people just take it and say, you know what? This crowd sucks.
But yeah, I thought the trios match was good. I thought Finlay, TJP was an interesting match to throw on this card. I was wondering how they were going to work this match because Finlay can be very divisive. Finlay can be very bland, very uninteresting for people. And then you also adding TJP, who can also be very divisive for people. And I thought they worked a pretty decent match. It was a solid match. I thought the tag match with Guerrillas of Destiny versus Bullet Club was also good. But I think the show really picked up towards the middle. Like, I thought Julia versus Trish Adora was very good. Yeah. I thought that was one of the better matches on this card.
What y'all think about recent Julia talks? Are y'all still... Where do you think Julia's going? Cresta, you think she's going to NXT?
Or man! So on the one hand, I want her to come to AEW. But if y'all follow me on Twitter, y'all know 920 is the only spot that women get shine on AEW. You want me to stop talking about it, stop doing it. You know what I mean? And I want to have more faith, but at the same time, I don't want Julia to go to no stinking NXT. I don't want her
that don't sound right. Yeah.
Like, do I think she'd have a good match with Tiffany Stratton? I think she'd stretch the hell out of Tiffany Stratton, but it'd be a good match. But at the same time, what's she going to do on the main roster? Lose to Becky Lynch? And I love Becky Lynch. But what's she going to do on the main roster?
Hey, Becky might be a free agent soon.
I mean...
Damage control, Cresta. What you mean?
We going to put all the Japanese girls together? This is Kabuki Warriors with extra steps.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with
them, though. That was a great match.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shout out to them though.
I don't know where she's going to end up, but you can definitely see that she's starting to ingratiate herself more with the American audience. You can see that with her entrance. You can see with how much the crowd reacts for her. I keep saying it, but man, Trish Adora, like, she's right there from this big win. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, but she looked really good in this match. Technical wrestling looked great. Of course, think that she has one of the best named finishers in all of wrestling in Larry Tubman.
I didn't know that was her finisher.
Finisher is the Larry Tubman. One of the most creative names for a finisher there is. But I thought it was a good match. We also got the reunion of the Chosen Bros. Matt Riddle teamed up with Jeff Cobb versus TMDK. Again, very divisive person on this card.
Yep.
There were things to like about this match. Was not surprised at all by the finish of it. Things to like about this match is, of course, Zack Sabre Jr. being Zack Sabre Jr., countering out of moves and countering out of that Tour of the Islands into a crucifix, because that's what Zack Sabre does. But of course, we finished this up with Riddle getting the pin over Bad Dude Tito. No real shock there. Seems like we're getting Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tanahashi in the future. Not sure when.
People being shocked about Matt Riddle. I'm like, there's some controversies in American pro wrestling that Japanese wrestling are never going to care about, and there's nothing we could do about it.
Unfortunately,
this tea is delicious. You guys like tea?
Autistic weirdo. We don't have to compare black women. Queen Aminata is great, but Trish Adora is also great. Let's not do that. Thanks.
They're so different.
I saw that in the corner of my eye. Queen Aminata is having a great few weeks with AEW, but let's not do that. Let's not compare black women.
They are two different girls and wrestle two different styles.
We got a video package shortly after this where we got the announcement that Ali will be coming to New Japan. He challenged Hiromu Takahashi. He'll be facing him in the city of Chicago at Windy City Riot. Again, one of those guys where I think people might have had Ali fucked up. I didn't. I've been saying for the longest this guy can be a top guy, and the fact that his match and the other match on this card were the only things announced. And that show is already sold out. And you've seen how many shows Ali has been announced for, and they're selling out like crazy. Yeah, we might have to put some respect on this guy's name, man. He's
been good.
He's going to end up signed somewhere, and he should be treated like a big deal no matter where he goes next.
He needs to bag a big bag from somebody. Like, he needs to immediately be with how he's working and the schedule that he's putting on, I could see where he's leading towards going. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I
will also say that I've been a fan of him since I saw him way back in the day in 205 Live. Was it 205 Live? I think I'm bugging. No, I'm not. It was 205 Live. Even Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Matthews in 205 Live was a banger. So I know Ali can wrestle. I would love to see him versus like a Speedball versus a Josh Alexander. I would love to see him versus a Danielson. But I want people to really, really get to know Ali, because he's one of those. He's up there, in my opinion, with a Speedball. Like, your work ethic, your in ring, and you've got the stuff, and you see things a lot differently. People can see it one way. You're like, yo, but what if I did a 450 instead? You're like, okay, yes.
Yeah. We got, I feel like one of the better matches on this card as well. Eddie Kingston taking on Young Scrappy, Gabe Kidd. Very, very fun match. A lot of chops, a lot of heavy strikes. At one point in this match, I was like, where are we going here? It almost felt like the match never really got going, because it just felt like it was so many points where it just kept breaking down. And so this match ended outside of the ring with them going at it. And before Eddie Kingston can get back in the ring to break up the count out, Gabe Kidd yells, "Is that all you got, you fat bitch?" And he slides back out of the ring. Proceeds to beat him down. Count out, double disqualification, and then proceeds to be like a pull apart brawl. Very fun pull apart brawl. Gabe Kidd talking his talk, and Eddie Kingston wasn't having none of it. The interaction between them throughout this match were also very good. At one point, Eddie Kingston was putting the boots to him, and he looked straight in his face and spit in his face. And Eddie Kingston was looking around like, who is this guy? And then proceeded. Really, really fun stuff. Really enjoyed this. Afterwards, Gabe Kidd picked up the Continental Classic belt, and it seems like that's going to be the match moving forward. There will be a rematch. Looking forward to seeing these two guys wrestle again. Don't know where it will be, but it's going to be a blast to watch.
Yeah, with that ending, you definitely think there's going to be another match here. This match was super fun. Eddie Kingston's been on a wild run, and I think just continuously putting him in matches like this is the perfect way to go. Gabe Kidd is climbing the list of my favorite wrestlers every single day. When he works, when he talks, his attitude, man, this guy can really fucking go. And he brought the fight to Eddie Kingston. There's blood, there's scrapping. These guys are throwing blows. This is really good stuff right here. But honestly, if y'all haven't seen Gabe Kidd, this guy is next up.
Yeah. I've seen just clips of him, and he's so good. And I'm also a huge fan of Eddie Kingston. So I think putting Eddie Kingston in a ring with someone like Gabe Kidd, who's going to match that same brawler style, where it just looks like, are you guys wrestling? Or are you guys like, are you fighting?
This definitely skirted the line between what is this? It felt like a real fight throughout, especially afterwards. The pull apart brawl was very, very good. Really hot pull apart brawl. The crowd was very much into it. Gabe Kidd is just, I like this guy a lot. He's good. Every time I see him and I see the other War Dogs around him, I'm like, why isn't he the leader, man?
Why is
Finlay leader? Why is Gabe Kidd not the leader of this faction, man? He's so great. But this was a very, very fun match. This preceded the penultimate match before the main event. Jon Moxley versus Shingo Takagi. Boy, oh boy. If you like your Jon Moxley style matches with your blood and your inventive ways to stab and poke people with things, this was for you. If you wanted Shingo to hit somebody very, very hard, this also was for you. This was a lot of fun, man. I feel like it's probably the best match of the night.
Yeah, I think that people kind of expected this to be, when they announced this match, it was like, yeah, they're gonna fucking kill it. But knowing that they gave Jon Moxley the rights to go nuts, and they have tables and barbed wire and all this crazy shit, showing Shingo in this situation, I think was a big deal too. These guys just beat the hell out of each other. They're doing wild spots, different things. I think having a 5-star match, they got a 5-star match, knowing that Okada and
this did get a 5-star match.
Yeah, this is a 5-star match. There's 2 5-star matches on the show. Knowing that Okada and Osprey were gonna follow this is a feat. Jon Moxley, I love that Jon Moxley is kind of the same, but totally different in New Japan. Like, he has a different song, he has different gear, he has different, like, he's a different person, but he's still Jon Moxley that you know and love. It's really a feat.
Yeah, a lot of really fun things in this match. Moxley snapping a kendo stick in half and proceeding to take the pieces of it and stabbing Shingo in his head, stabbing him repeatedly, and of course making him bleed because it's Mox, and Mox loves blood. I love it at one point that he was stabbing him with the pieces of the kendo stick, and Shingo started trying to pick them up and stab him back to get him off of him, and he wasn't even flinching. He was just like knocking the pieces of it out of his hand, like, get out of here, this is my thing. It was great. He was choking him at one point with pieces of it as well, and he was trying to stab him to get him off of him, and he then took the piece of it and started stabbing him inside of his mouth with it. Really, really violent stuff. There's a really, really great near fall in this thing where Mox hit him with the curb stomp and then proceeded to pick him up and hit him with the Death Rider. I thought that was the end of the match. Shingo kicked out at 2.
For why?
Really great. Really great false finish. You had to be watching it, Cresta. Really, really good false finish. Of course, Mox ended up winning this thing, and then he surprised the world by calling out Tetsuya Unido for the IWGP World Championship. He will be challenging him in the city of Chicago at Winter City Riot as well in the main event. Very excited to see what Mox does next. And it kind of, it kind of links to everything he was saying right after Wrestle Kingdom and at New Year's Dash, where he was saying, "I'm not done with Japan. I'll be back. I'm bringing Claudio with me. I'm bringing Brian back with me. Maybe I'll bring Marina Shafir with me. Me and my guys are not done with Japan." And so it absolutely makes sense for him to be the guy that feels like he's going to take that belt off of Naito and be the unit that stands tall over New Japan Wrestling. It's definitely a void for him with the Okada talk.
Void for everybody at this point. I think, announcing that match, Chicago, shout out to Chicago, already sold out. Naito and Moxley has been a match for a long time that people have been excited about. And I think this is honestly the perfect time with how Moxley is, his position in AEW and in New Japan. I think this is going to be great. This match is going to bang. Naito in America is always dope. In Chicago, sold out, the biggest New Japan strong show yet. Like, all the elements are there.
Yes. The word is they're going to open up some more seats at Wintrust because they immediately sold out. So there'll probably be more seats for that show soon.
Pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, the weekend following Wrestle Kingdom, I'm New Japan and Brain. The weekend following WrestleMania, Windy City Riot will take place in the city of Chicago. This show closed. Yeah, should be a really good show. This show closed with Kazuchika Okada taking on Osprey. They showed a really good video package of their history together, and just laid out every single one of their matches, and it put their record so far out of all of their matches. I believe it was 7-2 by the end. And this match was good.
We thought that the package was just for Osprey, but we now know it was for both of them.
Yeah, a lot to take in now watching that match and now watching that video package. It does kind of feel like an end of an era with them in that company. Because they do have a very long history with Osprey joining Chaos. Then, of course, Osprey challenged him at the anniversary show, one of the first junior heavyweight champions to challenge for the IWGP title. Then, of course, him breaking off on his own and starting United Empire, his G1 Climax win, all of the things around that. And so it does feel very fitting that one of the last matches Osprey is going to have with the company is with Okada. And this match didn't disappoint. I thought it was a very good match. It didn't hit all of the levels that some of their other matches did, but I feel like all the emotional notes were there. And these are two of the best wrestlers in the world, so they're not going to have a bad match.
Okada, and that's been the funniest thing about this whole thing is Okada wrestling in America vastly different than Okada wrestling in Japan. Like the Okada and Bryan Danielson match they had at Forbidden Door as compared to the Okada and Bryan Danielson match at Wrestle Kingdom, very different. This is why I'm like, maybe Okada is going to come and sign that old surfer contract with his boy Shinsuke Nakamura, because he could just come and chill, man. In America, it's like, it feels like he's like, I'm representing for Japan. When I'm in Japan, I'm at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm the god. I do this. This is for New Japan. When I'm in America, it's like I'm on vacation. And I'm like, does he want to come over for 5 years of vacation and have that? Because like you said, this match didn't get into the highest gear that it should have. I just don't know if any Okada match in America ever will. And that's the most interesting thing to me of what's happening here this week.
I agree. He's just a different wrestler here. And I mean, even when you think of like the All-In match and how much I enjoy the All-In match, it's just a different match than an Okada match in the Dome or an Okada match at Corrigan Hall. It's just not the same. And I am very interested to see like what he would look like as a regular weekly wrestler in the U.S. I mean, we still don't know what Osprey looks like as a television wrestler. I cannot even fathom, like, what does Okada look like as a television wrestler? Because a big part of the appeal of Okada is him being, like, a main event guy, like a major match guy. Like, that's been his appeal for the past, like, decade of him being a big match guy.
You don't even get the real Okada until 20 minutes into the match. So it's like,
warm up.
How's he going to work that into a 10-minute TV match?
I just don't know what that looks like. But yeah, that was a good way to end the show. Strong show. The Jack Perry thing ended up being one of the biggest talking points of the night. Was not expecting that. And I think that's great for Jack. I think it's great that he got to be the topic of discussion for the rest of the weekend when a lot of wrestling news was happening.
Hot goss.
Good for him, man. I mean, with the stuff still kind of surrounding his name, he's not helping by doing the scapegoat shit, but the stuff kind of surrounding his name, he needs a big win. He needs something. He needs to kickstart this 2024 and trying to forget about the shit that happened in the past. Because I thought, coming into AEW, Jack Perry was on all the posters. He was at all the press conferences. He was front and center of this company, and I'm sure that they still want to continue that and try to make him one of their top guys. So this is a step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, I think that also too, going out, changing, or at least getting a wider breadth of knowledge with your whole gimmick is going to be beneficial for him too. I think New Japan is a great place for him to be a piece of crap. There have been so many American wrestlers who go over there and be a piece of crap. I definitely remember Kenny Omega said, "I'm only here to make money. I don't care about this place." So get your money, honey.
Like Jack Perry as the leader of the Bullet Club.
That'd be kind of funny. 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 That'd be kind of funny.
Are we making money, Phil? Are we making money?
Phil is not in. He's not with our shenanigans today at all, Reg.
I feel like most like, why are you doing this to me? I don't know about him, leader of Bullet Club, but I do think he would be more interesting than Finlay, but that doesn't say a lot.
I mean anybody's more interesting.
He could hit him with the way they kicked out AJ Styles with the old Bullet Club is for everyone except you, AJ.
Exactly. Well, Finlay just not doing it for me. He's just not doing it. When the rest of the gang is so hard, it's like, whose little brother is somebody's little brother the leader?
Perry, like who's little? Why you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the appeal, though.
The connections are there, of course. Like Jack is a Cali guy. He is a friend of the Bucks, and of course, the Bucks have their ties to Bullet Club. Yep. So the ties are there. The story's there. I don't know if it's something I really want to see though.
You don't like anything, Phil.
Gato, don't do this to us.
Gato, are you watching Grapsody right now?
No, Gato. If you're watching this, I just want you to answer, why did you put Ren Narita in House of Torture? Why'd you do that to me, man? Like, I like Ren Narita a lot as a wrestler. Why'd you do that to him, man? Like,
so you do want to take the book from him.
The truth will always come to light. The truth
Cut it out, man. Leave us alone. Leave us alone, Gato.
The House of Torture shit is crazy. Single Blue Note, the Panda says, Okada versus Miz TV. Book it, Paul. Why are y'all?
No thanks.
Speed Punk is being even worse. He says, imagine if Okada went to NWA.
Whoa! Where?
Okada and NWA is crazy.
No, man. 10 pounds. 10 pounds ago, bro.
No,
Okada
man.
raising it over his head.
This is nuts. They're trying to put Okada on Fox News. It's like, yo,
stop.
You got a better chance of Okada in TNA than Okada in
Cut it out, man.
Knock it off.
Stop it, man.
Don't do Okada like that. He's trying to come and have a good time.
Over there? EC3?
Stop it. Stop.
EC3 is like, yeah, girl, what you mean?
Hey, Cresta, why you being a hater? Shut
up.
Let
me get my shit off. And then Aaron Busby says, Lupe and Cuddy officially squashed their beef. Cuddy posted a long-ass tweet saying they're cool now. Okay, we're making some steps. We'll see what happens by the end of this pod.
maybe that's why Lou deleted all of his tweets last night. Maybe because they had a conversation last night and we've moved on. I hope so.
I hope so, too. Y'all grown. Y'all are both 40, I think.
Yeah, Lupe's 41.
Yeah. Niggas are 40. We can't be fighting.
Too old to have
you can't be scared going to an event that another rapper that's also 40 is going to fight you when you get there. That just
that's crazy. At 40? That's crazy.
I can't.
You can't go to certain festies. You think you're going to show up and the skater guys are going to be there? They
Lupe not the dirty ghetto kids.
You hearing the coops and you think Lupe's going to run up on you? Like, that's crazy.
Absolutely not. And it's so funny that they're beefing because they kind of came in with like the same kind of thing. It was like
the same cosigns.
The alternative rapper guys, like Lupe's a skater guy, Cuddy's the mental health sensitive guy. It's like you guys are in the same gang. I don't know why y'all are fighting about this.
It's too similar. That's how they hate
y'all both appealed to me because of what y'all represent. I don't know why y'all.
You fuck with that last Cuddy album?
I mean, it's been a long time since officially he's. Remember
Cuddy? Yo, fix your face today,
Remember
bro.
Cuddy posted that clip and everybody was like, absolutely not.
Oh, that video
that was
wild,
crazy.
bro.
His fans were like, no. I've never seen somebody be like, okay, actually, that's not going to be my single anymore, you guys.
Him put out that single, and all of a sudden that wasn't a single no more. That was crazy.
I mean, I've only ever seen that happen with the Sonic film. Sonic's face looked a certain way. People were like, ain't no way. And his face didn't look that way when the movie
was
came
in
out.
real time. No, fans were like, absolutely not. Draw this shit again. I've never
Draw
seen
it again.
Redraw it, bro.
Draw this movie again. No, do it again.
Redraw it, bro.
Like
That's not going to work.
Go into your room and do your homework again.
Yeah, no, do it again.
Do it again.
This ain't enough. And they did it again. Like, bullying works sometimes.
Every now and then.
Every now, you can't, and not every single time, but sometimes it actually works.
Sometimes it works. I hate to agree.
That's all of our super chats for now. I appreciate y'all.
Let's slide into some of our humper chats. Appreciate you guys as always.
Mm-hmm.
Come on screen, load for me. Load for me. Got a humper chat regular. Tony P says, "This is the Petties winners this week are people like myself and Cam who drink from the chalice of hate, filled to the brim with the tears of Cowboys fans as they witnessed their team getting stomped by babies and almost made Jerry have a flashback to the 1950s. Listen, man, as somebody that has hated two fan bases because fans from other cities are fans of them. You have Chicago fans that don't have the guts to be Bulls fans because you don't have the guts to sit through losing. And so you go and you front run and you be a Cowboys or a Lakers fan. So I've always hated those two organizations. Boy, does it feel good every time Cowboys lose because I can rub it into front runners' faces like, yo, you're not really a Cowboys fan, bro.
Yeah.
You live in the city of Chicago. Why are you a Cowboys fan?
I've been saying that my whole life, Phil. The football teams in California, like everybody loves the Raiders who are now gone and the 49ers, but there's always been the Dallas Cowboys. They've always been that third team, probably because I grew up in places with a lot of Latinos. Shout out to my Latinos homies. They love them some Dallas Cowboys. But to see the grief and pain that they went through this week, it hit pretty good. I loved it.
It feels
them burning
good
their
every
jersey, punching their TVs and shit. I'm like, it's great.
I don't know anything about sports,
Listen,
but at my local job, I saw that the Cowboys were up, and then they weren't. And then everyone was on a live watch because they were like, "Yo, you were just winning. You were just winning. How you lose so bad?" And didn't they lose to like 16 to like 64?
Yeah, they're awful.
Because they suck. Mm-hmm. I love it. Sorry, man. Hey, man. Let that be a lesson, fan bases from other cities. Stop being cowards, man. If you're a Cleveland fan, be a Cleveland Browns fan. If you're from the city of Chicago, be a Chicago Bears fan. Don't go front running to another organization just because they were winners in the 90s. It ain't coming back. I have to listen to this every year. This is going to be the Cowboys' years. No, it ain't. They suck. Sorry.
I guess I'm being a hypocrite because I was a Bulls fan for a long time. But like Jordan, how do you not, though?
Have Lakers fans been through hard times? I mean, I know that their bum asses just lost to the Brooklyn Nets because they suck, but
you can't count. No.
I was a sports fan.
Lakers fans, all their hard times are forced. They deserve those hard times. You know what I mean? Like at California, I fucks, but like these are well deserved. It's like when the Yankees get shit. It's like you're the biggest franchise in that.
Yeah,
sport.
I never feel bad.
You deserve whatever comes to you. Come on.
Yes,
I think Yankees stay winning. I don't feel bad when you lose.
I never feel bad
somebody else
about
have
the Lakers. You got LeBron James. I can't feel bad.
Listen,
for you
man,
ever.
you guys they're one of the most lucrative franchises in the history of sports. They are a dynasty. They have numerous championships. I do not feel bad for Lakers or their fans. Sorry. And yes, Scott George, Cowboys are one of the best regular season teams every year. Every year when they have a good season, I know where this is going. They're not going to win the playoffs. They always
regular season. That's the emphasis.
It just happens every time. More from Tony P. He says, my question with Okada leaving has been about Bushiroad's front office plans and goals for New Japan and Stardom and the people they place in those positions. Both places now have had major clashes with the front office and wrestlers because of moves from the front office made. It is very Yeah, I don't know, man, because we did get that stuff from Stardom recently, like some rumblings from over there with the front office. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
I don't know if like if there's something crazy going on the front office, or if it's like Cresta was saying, like maybe it was just Okada's time. Like maybe there's nothing that they could have done to save it. Like we don't really know.
Wrestling is booming right now. The business itself is booming. No matter, forget Phil's face. Even TNA is booming. Even TNA is booming.
You'll never forget this face. Hey man, maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's going over to WWE and business is booming. He's gonna show up with MVP and he's gonna restart the Hurt Business. Okay.
Okada and the Hurt Business.
My God.
Okada standing at the top of the ramp with money raining down from the sky.
Honestly, MVP the right one to do it.
That would be hilarious. I would love it.
I'm like, hold on a second. That's visual might kind of hit though.
You was memeing at first, but now you cooking.
Yeah, I mean, you was cooking. You was cooking with fire.
Man. Business is booming, man. I wouldn't be mad at Okada with MVP standing next to him, man. And man.
I mean, with the new kind of objective WWE has of like all their premium live events are going to be in different countries and stuff. It's not the worst idea if Okada goes over there. They're going to be in France and Australia and all these crazy things. Like, and what Okada said, I saw a few interviews of him being like, I want to have the opportunity to go to WrestleMania. And he also says, the fans that don't know me, I think that's cool. I'm going to make them know me. And it's like,
yeah,
of course.
If you're going to go start from scratch and be Okada and fucking make those fans your fans, more power to you.
I'm not going to hold you. I want to be that guy. I would love to see Okada versus Kenny Omega at WrestleMania. Can you imagine the WrestleMania entrance for both of them? And I hear my battle cry. Oh my
They're
God.
Not going to let him use his music over
not at WrestleMania.
They're gonna give him some Death Rattle music. They don't want that.
They're going to play Triple H's music. It's time to play the game.
Oh my God. What's going to be? Okada's going to get a Death Rebel thing too.
I told you what it is, man. He's gonna restart the Hurt Business. The ties are already there. Somebody just pointed it out. The MVP was the inaugural IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Sheldon also has ties to New Japan as well. Come on, man.
Honestly, what's really going to happen here is Okada's going to sign a WWE. They're going to team him with Shinsuke Nakamura and restart Jacket Time.
I have to go.
Going back to Humper Chats now. Tony P says, as an example of this Asian expansion with Stardom, I may be looking at this from a Western view, but it's still telling that some of your talent felt confused by this, and they said in interviews they wanted to do more shows in the West. We're not even going to get into Harold Meijie's story or what has come out with the Obari not being liked. Even though he guided them during the pandemic, to me, his exit and lack of top stars seems like the result of years of overall bad decisions. Yeah, there's something to that. I think that having the kind of scatterbrain decision to create the IWGP Women's Championship and then also establishing the New Japan Strong Women's Championship as well. It just feels like something's weird there. Like two heads are not talking to the other. Yep. Like I don't know, man.
It's like they have like one person's making a decision. Like they have two people making a decision and they're making the same decision. Like, oh, I got a new belt. Oh, I also got a new belt. And it's like, well, what if we just work together to have one thing going on? I don't know what they lost Okada. Figure it the fuck out.
I like how that's your default. Like, bro, you lost.
Y'all lost Okada. What are y'all doing?
How do you lose Okada?
How do you lose Okada? Seriously, though. Yeah. Your top dude, you let your top guy go. Like, I don't care what you want to do in America. You better take all this money we got to stay here, brother. What do you mean?
We about to hear good vibrations playing in the background and Okada and Shinsuke running towards those sweet waves coming to the shore.
Big waves, yeah. I'm not even mad at them, honestly, man. Go get your bag and go get them waves. They about to be having a great time.
After wrestling Ishii for a couple of years,
I'm saying
I'd rather surf's up, dude.
I don't want to get dropped on my head no more, bro. I'm trying to ride some waves, man. I don't want to get chopped to death. I don't want to have a hamburger chest anymore. No, dude. I want to surf some waves and eat some hamburgers with my homie.
Yep. That might be where we're going with this. I don't know. He goes, now with that said, this is still from Tony P. He says, now with that said, I still see some hope for New Japan. They could use their partnership with AEW to help get some solid footing. They could ask AEW talent not getting used, which happens with Megan and Jack, to go over for tours if they can. As for this year's Forbidden Door, if AEW gets Okada, I will use it as a vehicle to help launch these New Japan youngsters. You can have storylines of ex-New Japan people getting taken out by New Blood in New Japan, winning and proving New Japan will be fine without them. Jay and Shibata loses in a one-on-one. In a one-on-one versus Ren or Yuya. And Will and Okada loses in a one-on-one versus Yuji or Shooter, a wild card of Kaido. Have them all lose a Forbidden Door to help New Japan Wrestling future. Boy, that sounds like a novel idea. I don't see a situation where all the AEW guys are gonna lose to further New Japan storylines. Yep. Boy, does that sound good? It sounds great for New Japan in the long run, but boy, I do not see any way where Booker is just like, our wrestlers are gonna lose to your guys because it'll work out for you. I don't see him being. I don't see him being that selfless.
These bookers don't want the wrestlers to lose to their own wrestlers. Why would you want them to lose to somebody else's wrestlers?
Nah. Yeah, Orion Ben, absolutely. Okada and Shinsuke riding down the street in a van to Here Comes the Sun, going to go surf.
Running in slow motion with their boards. I love it. I think it's great.
Honestly, I would watch vignettes of that. Honestly,
Same
I
here.
would.
Same
Come
here.
on, man. Right to self, man. From Van Twin Blade, I'm sorry, I missed one from Tony P. Sorry. Another from Tony P says, it's crazy how the Bucks are using some of Vinny's energy and his stash mixed with the EVP criticism to make these new characters. I love it. So do you think these Bucks characters are going to lead to Christian versus Adam? And for the tag titles, I think you mean
versus Christian and Adam.
Versus Christian and Adam.
Yeah.
You have versus in the wrong spot. For the tag titles or a match. I don't know, but yeah, sitting and watching that segment and coming to the realization that they were doing the Vince mustaches, my head like exploded. And then I tweeted it, and other people were like, I didn't notice it either. You had a few people that were like, that's not what they're doing. And I was like, bro, if you put the picture of Nick next to Vince, it's identical. The mustache is the exact same. They're doing the tans and everything too. No, it's very much intentional. There's no way it's not intentional.
I didn't peep that it was a Vince McMahon comparison. I thought they were just being, well, since you wanted the EVPs, I'm no longer Nick. I'm Nicholas. I'm not Matthew. We can't call him Phil. He's Philip, okay? And this isn't Reg. This is Reginald, okay? I am Crestalis. Don't talk to me this way. It's my full name. My God.
But everybody's government out here, huh?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
they're definitely doing the Vince mustaches. I may have got a confirmation from somebody that talked to NAW that that's what they're doing as well.
I live. I'm about to come back on these podcasts with my Vince mustache. I live.
It's very much a Vince mustache. I thought it was very funny. I thought the segment was also very good. I thought they made the best out of it. I thought that them throwing a dig at a yesteryear's legend that came over here, but also putting over Sting. Like, we're not talking about Sting. Like, yes, Bucks, we know who you're talking about. It's very obvious. But
so them leaning in, because I know you said you didn't think they should lean in on any of the CM Punk stuff. It wasn't too egregious this time.
Well, my issue with leaning into it is I feel like there is a ceiling with it, and because you're not going to lead anywhere storyline with it, and because he's not there, you can't have any matches to pay that off. It's just kind of just a wink, wink, nod that's not going to go anywhere. I thought that what they did here wasn't as on the nose. There was enough of it that was vague enough that it worked with their story with Sting.
Right.
And I think character-wise, I think this is good for them because they needed something else. The babyface thing was just not working. I think turning heel was the right move for them.
I don't like babyface Young Bucks ever, so
I won't say ever, but I just think that heel Bucks is just better.
Just so much better.
So I thought this was a good segment. I thought Renee always does her best with this, and she always makes these work. she is one of the unsung heroes of AEW. There's so many things she does that makes these things work. Like when she was doing the interview last night with Saraya and Harley's getting choked out, and the whole time she's sitting there like going back and forth with the microphone, like what's happening here? And then when she realized what was actually happening, the look on her face with Saraya at the end, she was just like, "Come on."
Renee is such a good straight man in these interviews. Her and Tony Schiavone, they do so good. Because literally, Tony's face at the end after someone just cusses him out is like, and so Renee is like the shoe, and like, yo, what the hell did I do? So good. She's great. So good.
She's such a big, great hire for them. Like, it's like she's half of the show. Sometimes it'll be like match then Renee, segment then Renee. It's like Renee is dominating this. And shout out to Lexi Nair too, also doing that on Ring of Honor. But yeah, Renee is amazing. And that segment with Ruby choking Harley,
really funny stuff.
I have to go look at it because I didn't watch it last night. I was at work.
The people using that for thirst purposes, I see you out there.
I mean, honestly, I can't talk. I definitely seen the one with JD McDonough getting choked up by Damian Priest.
I just think it's the angle they choose to go with Ruby choking Harley, and Harley has that big grin on her face, like she's clearly enjoying it. Yeah. Very funny stuff. I have to say,
watch Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly wrestle every week. I can't.
But again, I have to say, I think the implosion of Outcast has been handled really well. I think those segments are really, really funny. I think they do the soap opera and like hammy wrestling stuff well in it. It's just cheesy enough that it works. And go figure, I think Saraya's comedic timing in it is really good. It's been good.
Like, this is the position that Saraya needs to be in, not wrestling. Sorry, Saraya. Love you.
Tracker.
I've been enjoying it. I think Harley has been a good addition to it as well. I like what they're doing with it.
Good work all around. Yeah. Are there more humpers?
I think we've got like maybe 3 or 4 more. Okay. From Van Twin Blade, he says, okay, so YouTube is being fucky, so Steph DeLander is going to get her head kicked off by Tootie at Glory Flow Anniversary 6 at Casaloma Ballroom. Also, Ethan Price versus PME in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Sorry, I saw the 2 right afterwards. I thought you was giving us the sequel, bro. Ethan Price versus PME in a 2 out of 3 falls, and Allie Katch versus Maggie Lee in a singles match. Need women's belts. I don't know what that means, Van, but Glory Pro Anniversary 6, guys.
Maybe saying Glory Pro needs women's tag team belts?
Yeah, it says need women's belts, and so that's why I was confused. I don't know. Somewhere that's English.
Watch Glory Pro and shout out to Van Twinblade for always support.
From also Humper Chat's regular Nelson Muntz, he says such a good wrestling week. Brian Keefe signed with AEW. Big shout out to Brian.
About time.
Seth Rollins probably not having to put over CM Punk. That's not good news. What do we? Gable Stevenson still getting the hate he deserves from even a WWE crowd. WWE realized the men's roster.
He still work there?
At the top is way too old.
He really works there too.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Here, let me hit a word from our sponsors first, and then we will get into the Seth Rollins news.
Yes.
Are you excited?
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful, here to tell you about BetOnline AG. The highest credit card acceptance industry-wide, 25-plus year track record, safe and secure online environments, payouts in minutes, the fastest in the industry. You can bet big with their high limits and rebet functionality, the earliest line, so odds open before the competition, the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit, and we're talking on everything. Wrestling, they got it. MMA, they got it. Boxing, they got it. But hey, you know what? I know we're Fightful. We don't just live for that. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, racing, esports, anything you can think of. Not only that, this is exclusively where Fightful gets our lines from. If you hear us talking about lines on a prediction show or on our post shows, it is always from BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can. BetOnline.ag.
Yeah, we
Don't spend your last dollar. Bet responsibly.
Yep.
absolutely. We got the culmination of last week's gender discourse this week in the main event of WWE Raw, as the modern day Maharaja took on Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This was a match. This was fine. Of course, the story coming out of it is Seth Rollins got injured somewhere in this match. When I rewatched it, you can kind of tell it was during
a dive.
Because he does that spot where he does the slingshot senton, and then he comes across the ring and he does that springboard moonsault. You could tell on the landing he kind of landed wrong. You could see him holding his knee when he got up. So I'm assuming that that's where it happened.
Is it the same knee that he had before, or is it a different knee?
I think it is. I think it's the same knee. But yeah, we got the Fightful Select report yesterday that he tore his MCL and there's a partial tear to his meniscus. Of course, we don't know the grade to the MCL tear. That's going to say a lot. But we also got word that we will be hearing from Seth Rollins next Monday on the plan for the World Championship moving forward and what is his status. This was a lot to take in on a Friday night, and I saw it and I was just like, man, just let me have good things, man. I came on here and I hyped up how much excited I was that Rollins was going to get his match. This felt like his closest chance to getting his WrestleMania main event. And now it might be in a little bit of jeopardy. Of course, we've heard from some people that depending on the tear, he could be back within a month or two. But yeah, it just sucks. It sucks that the timing of it's awful.
Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar right now for those. The people are saying we're in January is over. It's January 20th already. If he rehabs for a month and he's out all of February, then he has all of March to build towards this WrestleMania match. But do you want to rush into all of that is my thing. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to make him work super hard to try to get to WrestleMania and potentially fuck up his knee forever, you know?
I wouldn't, as a normal person that's
right.
not a wrestler.
Yeah.
But Seth Rollins, and knowing what that main event means to him and how much he's talked about it, he absolutely will. And when you go back and you look at, like, there are WWE specials about him being injured the first time with that knee and working hard to come back and having to stand in the press box and watch WrestleMania and seeing how upset he was about that. If he can be back by WrestleMania, he's going to try.
He's going to.
I just don't see him. I don't see him missing this chance to wrestle in possibly the biggest match of his career at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What an unfortunate situation, you guys. Like, how did we got lightning in a bottle. CM Punk somehow is back. He comes back in Survivor Series. They have this built-in match with Seth Rollins. Like, you don't have to do anything. Just let these guys finish out the story. And then this controversy with gender, that's what makes it even crazier, is like off the backs of this controversy with gender, and people are saying this match shouldn't happen. This match does happen. He ends up getting injured off of it. Gender did hinder somebody. It's
damn.
Like, this is crazy.
I will say that I don't think all is lost, because not for nothing, Roman Reigns don't work. He work what, 3-4 times a year. He's on his Brock Lesnar shit. He really, we can book around this. If Roman Reigns is on his Brock Lesnar, I'm employee of the month, even though I show up 3 times a year. No disrespect, because I would do it at the top too. They all do it. I would do it too. So like, we could book around this. I completely agree with you. Seeing how upset Seth was previously, I think there's a way around it, but I don't know if he relinquishes or if he's like, guys, I'm gonna be out. I think he might relinquish because he's that guy, and I think it would suck.
I would hate to see him relinquish based on the year he's had with that belt, the fact that he's been the most visible world champion. He's the guy that's worked all of the house shows. He's been there, and having to relinquish it right before WrestleMania season.
Terrible way to end that reign.
Yeah, I mean,
especially when beating him can be like a little accolade for somebody. You know
and I mean, maybe Damien will cash in on him, but I also kind of don't want to see him lose. I want to see him be able to carry that belt into WrestleMania. I feel like he's earned that at this point. Like he's been the guy all year that's been there. So I feel like if you need to give him a month to not be on TV or like a month and a half to not be on TV with that belt, you still got Gunther with the IC title on television. So it doesn't really hurt you, but
didn't we create this championship to avoid this shit? If both of our champions are at home,
Roman got to come to work then. Roman got to come to work. He got to come to work then.
He ain't going to, though. He not going to.
All right, then. What, to quote Magneto here, then what would you have me do? I don't want to.
I would probably have Damian cash in on Monday.
I would rather him relinquish it, and that's a built-in storyline to come back and say, I never lost this. Give me my shit back.
I don't. But see, I don't. We've seen him do that. We've seen him do the I've never lost thing. We've seen him.
I don't want Damian to cash in, though.
I just
that's
don't
kind of
really have.
lame.
This is a really unfortunate situation. I think.
But
that's probably what I would do is have him cash in.
Yeah, I don't.
Wash our hands. And then we could figure out with Rollins, when we get closer to it. Because what they could do is Punk could still win the Rumble. He's still getting his title match at Mania. And if we need to get back to Rollins being champion before then, we can.
I thought Cody was going to win. They kept putting over no one's won back-to-back Rumbles.
I don't think Cody's going to win the Rumble.
Maybe Cody will win. I don't know. But, I think until we know, like, the severity of it, I mean, because we got the Fightful Select report, but I don't know. I don't know
officially yet.
We'll find out Monday.
Yeah, I don't know what this means for Rollins moving forward. I don't like the idea of him trying to rush back and wrestle on an injury like this at his age. Like,
right.
I don't really like that at all. But again, I know it's wrestlers, and I know like what this match means to him.
Yeah,
it's too close to WrestleMania, man. He should just relax, take it.
It's far out enough where maybe, but it's close enough where it's like yikes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just too close, and he's worked too long for this match in particular. I don't see him missing this if he can.
This really sucks, man. He got this championship, and he's been building. He's had all these great defenses. He's been on the house show. He's been the world champion. And if it ends like this, man, come on.
Really, really frustrating way for it to end. I really hope that I hope it's not as bad as it seems, but
So if it is as bad as it seems, where do you go with this? Where do you go in WrestleMania without him? What do you do with Punk?
I don't know.
I'm sure there's somebody else in the back that hates Punk.
Everybody like Kevin Owens could be slotted in there. Like there's some things you can do.
Kevin Owens is fantastic. No matter, I mean, I wouldn't want Sami Zayn to be in that situation, but Sami Zayn is also fantastic. You get Sami Zayn on the card.
He's kind of the heart and soul of WWE. It could work.
Yeah.
I mean, he could beat up the Miz. Nobody care if you beat up the Miz.
Don't do that to my guy. Don't do that to my guy. Have him lose and then put his belt on Miz. I'd be so.
Oh my God! Could you imagine?
I'm not saying put the belt on Miz. That's nasty work, Phil. That's nasty.
All right, what if we totally pivot? We slot Punk into the main event. The night 2 man. We do a 4-way: Roman, Rock, Cody, and Punk.
Please no! Don't do this. Don't do it.
Why not? That's a star-making match, ain't it?
We put everybody in the main event.
That's what everybody in there.
Don't do the big 4-way and then Roman.
I don't even think they should do the 3-way either. Like if it's gonna be a match, do Roman needs a one-on-one match. I don't want they're already doing this 4-way at Rumble, so don't do it again at Mania.
I kind of see the 3-way in the same way I saw the 3-way with Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte.
Exactly.
Not saying that The Rock can't go, but The Rock may not be as crispy as everybody else in the ring.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too. So
you want to make The Rock look you want to protect him. So I don't think The Rock is going to be as crispy as a Roman who wrestles 3 times a year. And who else?
Cody who wrestles not 5,000 times a year.
Yeah, I mean, other than some of that, I think this was a strong Raw. I thought the DIY match was good.
Everybody's theme music sucks, but that's beyond
everybody.
God damn, the theme musics are so bad.
DIY's music is not good.
Oh,
the match itself was good. I thought the DIY match was good. I thought the Xavier Imperial stuff was good. I thought the Drew and Cody segment was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most I've been invested in, like the story around a Royal Rumble in a long time. And it's the most I feel like there are so many people in it with like stakes and like I don't want to say it feels like anybody can win, but it does feel like the
field's
energy around it.
The field's wider open than its previous.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as obvious.
Yeah. I really like that about it. I feel like this is the most invested I've been in a Rumble in a long time. And yeah, I can't say enough about how great Drew has been since he's been back. I thought that promo was great. I thought him.
Oh, they could pivot with Drew too.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I thought him referencing all of this stuff before he came back, saying that him and Cody made doing a Drew or doing a Cody a thing by leaving and building yourself back up. We made the blueprint for that, and he's absolutely right.
Yes.
You could pivot with Cody too. Sorry, I just thought of that while you were talking.
You could pivot with Cody.
Cody don't want that belt.
Cody's never gonna finish the story.
I know you don't want it, dog, but we didn't ran into a problem. Take this belt.
Sorry, dogs.
He been telling you for a whole year he don't want that belt.
I know you don't want it, but take it.
Listen, it's either this or nothing. Okay, take this belt, dogs.
I know you don't want it. Just carry it though. Just how do you see how it feels around your waist? Just walk out there with it.
Put it in your backpack.
Put it in your backpack.
No, it's not happening.
Take it home with you. Test drive it.
He don't want it. He don't want it, bro. He keep
sure
telling you, I want Roman's belt.
Championship, Cody.
He keep telling y'all, bro. That's not the story. I want his belt.
Roman's NA. He's a non-active. He's not over here.
He's an retired.
I watched SmackDown too, and like the Roman is so rarely on SmackDown that they could just continuously do the same things that they've been doing for so long. Like he did the episode last night. They've done that SmackDown episode at least 50 times. Roman champion, and they just keep doing it, and it keeps working. I'm like,
bro, it was the same thing with Brock. When Brock was champion, Paul Heyman would come out and do the same promo every time. So it's like I can't even be mad because that's the same thing Roman complained about, same thing The Rock complained about. Then y'all got to do the same thing when you get to the top. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, it is. Cena complained about Rock doing it, then he did it. Roman complained about Cena doing it, now he's doing it. It's like, all right.
Yeah, I just wonder if some people gonna be honest and say that Roman's coasting, man.
Oh.
In the beginning, it was hot, and now you on your Brock Lesnar shit. Like I don't care.
Cruise control.
It's time to get that belt off of him. I don't want to.
Is it belts or belts? I don't even know how many belts he has.
We still got to make it to Mania, though.
It's time, bro. But yeah, I think the Drew stuff was very, very good. I thought, Cody has needed a promo like this for a long time. And I thought Drew was a good option because Drew has been kind of the guy that is telling the truth, but also it sounds very bitter and it sounds very whiny. And so I think it works. I think Cody being like, I'm not like you. I'm not making excuses. I thought all that stuff was great.
Yeah, it definitely was on the line of what Cody, the character, would represent of like, I'm not a crybaby. Like I say that if my complaints feel like something, I always execute them into being a win. So, and then now they announced that next week, the two former AEW boys are going to square off in a little promo segment.
We're gonna get a super dramatic Punk and Cody segment. This could be either very good or it could be very over the top. I look forward to it. I think it's gonna be a good way to sell the Rumble. I mean, go figure that you've got Cody and Punk being the guys to sell your Rumble this year.
That's wild.
What a time. But yeah, I think I also thought the Rhea and Becky segment was very good. I thought that was a good way to get people interested in the Women's Rumble. I think having Rhea come out and say, you better win the Rumble because I want to see you at WrestleMania kind of makes me think that Becky's losing. And I've been saying all this time that I think Becky's the favorite, but it was something about this segment that was just so on the nose. I'm like, are they kind of setting us up to feel like she's winning, but she's not?
But what about Jade Cargill? Where is she at? What
What about Jade?
She's gonna debut in the Rumble, I assume. That's the same with Punk thing. Like I feel like Punk's first match is gonna be the Rumble match.
What about Nia? Where does Nia land? I think Nia has a shot at winning the Rumble. What y'all think?
I do too. They've really been. I'm a Nia apologist, so I
mean, her run recently has been kind of cooking. I'm not mad at it.
And she got mat work now, so nobody can really complain. She feels that.
Does she have mat work?
All right.
Cresta talking crazy. Hold on. Let's reel it in, Cresta.
I'm saying from when whence she came. From
she said mat work.
Ma'am said she got mat work.
Bro, before she fall on the mat once, it was 1, 2, 3, bro. Now you got to knock her down 4, 5 times. She doing something. She must have been doing something. Listen, I will give Nia her flowers because that's your perfect. That is your bruiser. That is your big person. That is your enforcer. Put some respect on her name. Maybe she'll probably get knocked out because they're going to have to gang up on her, but she eliminates bad people. And she could eliminate a Becky being your favorite. Gets eliminated by Jade and Bianca and somebody else working together. And then you get that big stare down like, yes, please, I need that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's good that
I could be forgetting about Bianca too. Shit.
Yeah, I think it's good that she's come back and she's been really effective. I think she's been really good since she's come back. I do think that she's a name that you could throw in there that has a chance of winning. I don't think she's going to. I think the two favorites at this point are Becky and Bayley. I think in terms of storyline, they both have the most interesting storylines going into the match.
I hope that for Bayley needs this accolade, I think, more than anybody. I know that they care about accolades and they're all dumb. I think this is one that Bayley needs on her belt. The story that they've been telling kind of leads it to believe. And just she goes kind of harder for WWE women's wrestler than anybody. Like anytime she's talking, all she's talking about is we need something more or we should get she fights hard for them every day.
I agree.
And when I say that Mercedes/Sasha is my favorite of all time, Bayley's right there next to all my favorite Mercedes moments in WWE. Bayley was right there. So I want the world for her. Bay Area, if she won, I think that should be great.
Yeah, I agree. I think
throw a wrench in their damage control where making her look like Bayley's the bad guy and Bayley's the one who's messing it up when y'all clearly going to turn on her. So you're going to turn on your Royal Rumble winner? Knock her up.
No, I think this is leading to the face turn. I think that if she wins the Rumble, this is the big thing that's turning her face. But I agree. I think that in terms of what Bayley represented, she's been a leader in that locker room for a long time. And I think she's had moments, but it does feel like she's had spots at WrestleMania that kind of got pulled away from her. I think being champion for a year and being champion all that time in the pandemic, and then as soon as the pandemic was over and live crowds were back at WrestleMania, she didn't have a match at the show, and then getting injured. So I do think she's missed out on some chances that she should have had. I mean, the fact that she hasn't had a big one-on-one match at WrestleMania yet is very telling.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is her year. I think her versus EO at WrestleMania makes a lot of sense.
Okay. We're also forgetting about TNA ties in. The homegirl Trinity just did her farewell speech last night. She could be factored into the Women's Rumble too. So
yeah, definitely does seem like
that is something that I don't even want to talk about that, bro. I'm so
we're talking
mad.
about it, Presta. We're talking about it. You're gonna talk about it. You're on this show. A camera's in front of you. You're gonna talk about it.
Listen here, brother. Bro, if Trinity's in that Rumble and she don't win. And I come on now. You were just champion. You were
Krista,
just champion.
That is my issue here. Is people have been like, okay, Trinity's coming back. I'm like, I want her to come back. I hope, but I just hope that they know now that who they got, because before they didn't know. She left for a reason. Yeah. She went out and proved exactly who we know that she is. That she can work. She could be a world champion. She could be the face of your company. Is WWE going to realize that this time, or are they going to do the same thing that we did last time?
And that's going to piss me off. Literally, I'm going to be at the press conference like, you cowards! You not kidding. But it's bro, I that would make me beyond angry as a fan watching Trinity go from people like, what is she going to do in TNA? Tapping out Deonna Purrazzo, not once, not twice, but 3 times a lady, bro. People don't tap out Deonna, bro. And if she comes in and she loses on some BS, I'm going to be angry. I'm going to screech. It's gonna be guttural. I'm still gonna watch. I'm still gonna watch. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad as fuck.
We did have a TNA pay-per-view last week. I thought that Trinity looked very good. I thought Trinity versus
match was good.
Was very, very good. Mm-hmm. She continues to show people that didn't think that she could work, that she is a lot better than you thought she was.
She can work.
I think some of her transitions into the Starstruck in that match were very good. She pulled out that that power bomb out of nowhere, sit out power bomb on Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
Kicked out of the muscle buster too. Like, yeah.
Trinity's that girl. She worked that match. She was selling in the transition. Like you said, the transitions into Starstruck. Even when she puts her leg around someone's like neck to try to like really yank it in, bro. Come on now, knock it off.
Yeah, the selling that she has now, I think that's one of the most important aspects that I saw with her in Impact. It's like, because we've all know her flashy offense. We know the moves that she could do. But it's on the other side that really takes you to the next level. And her being great on defense now and selling, I think is upped her stock even more. That's why this WWE run, I'm like, yo, y'all can't this isn't just a regular wrestler you guys are getting back. It's Trinity. She's ready for the fucking spotlight.
To AEW, but even this is gonna sound crazy. I kind of want her to go to Ring of Honor because I really want Trinity versus Athena.
They teased us. Remember they teased us? She was in the front row, and then Athena looked at her, and I was like, "Oh, they're doing this match," but they never did it. They
never got it. But yeah, I do think she's going back to WWE. That's what all the reports are saying. I mean, that's where her family is, and all these other
husband's
things.
there, yeah.
Makes sense. I definitely think she's going back. I hope that they have something for her. I hope that it's not just come back and be in the Rumble and have a moment, because she's had a moment in the Rumble. But I want to see her get like a big push. I want to see her get something out of this, even if it's not right after the Rumble, sometime in 2024. I just don't want it to just, hey, come back and act like none of that happened. Like, yo, you also disrespected this woman,
Facts.
and threw dirt on her name on the way out. Like, no, you gotta make that right. You can't just bring her back and act like that never happened.
And the apology gotta be as loud as the disrespect is.
If we get to a position though later in this year where we got Bianca, Jade, Trinity, potentially Mercedes, like WWE is gonna be cooking over there, man. You know what I mean?
Bianca won't be the only black girl over there.
I'm saying she needs some friends. Get her some homegirls.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope that they have plans for her when she comes back. But I thought the Impact run was very good, and I think closing off the Impact run and the start of TNA with that big match with Jordan, I thought that was really good for her. This was a good pay-per-view overall too. I was
very shocking ending. I didn't expect Moose to come out as the TNA World Champion. Did you, Krista?
Bro, not Moose.
Was that your prediction going in?
I thought Shelly was gonna.
Same here.
But Moose had a whole new faction because the system just works. It works. The system works. And
how do you feel about Moose as TNA World Champ, Krista? Because people online didn't like it. A lot of people hated it.
So let me tell you why this tracks. Moose is a TNA lifer. He may go somewhere else, but Moose is there. He's like Motor City Machine Guns, and he's low-key their Randy Orton. I've seen him burn down someone's house. He's burned down someone's house, Phil. He's burned down someone's house.
Comparing Moose to Orton is hilarious, bro. That's hilarious.
Tracks. Wait, that? Yep. Okay. All right.
I mean, there are a lot of people who are Orton-esque, but if Moose is anyone, he's going to be that guy. It makes sense in the TNA era, even with Grace winning. I'm like, okay, if we're really going TNA, we've got people who are established stars in Impact who carry the Impact banner. Grace is one of them. Yeah. Moose, I am not a fan of Moose per se, but this makes sense. Like, even if they put it on Eddie Edwards, as much as I will complain about it, that would make sense because Eddie, where is he going? That is a TNA. You could put it on Shark Boy, and I'd be like, oh, that tracks because it's a TNA. You know what I mean?
Yo, Shark Boy is your world champion. Is wild. But I thought the match itself was solid. It was what it was. I think Shelly working the arm the entire match and leading up to Moose finally getting that spear to win. It was an enjoyable match. I
just couldn't believe it. Like, Moose, really?
I can't say that I was as excited about Moose winning, especially after we got Nick Nemeth showing up as the guy that they had been teasing all this time. And I was like, wait, we could have got Nick versus Alex Shelley. Why didn't we just do that match? That match is 1,000 times better. Like, I don't know. And I mean, there's no hate on Moose as champion, but I'm just like, yo, that match sounds so dope. Why didn't we just do that?
I liked what Alex Shelley was doing too. I thought that going into what he represents for the brand, I think is vastly different than what Moose represents. But I understand why they did Moose. I mean, he did try to bring back this championship while they were
found it
Impact
in
Wrestling,
the trash.
so.
It was like, I'm the champion. Like, yo, where you find this at?
It makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, if anybody's going hard for TNA, it's fucking Moose.
Yeah, at that part of it, I did think was a very smart tie back that he did. He was the guy that found the TNA belt in the trash. He was the guy that tried to reestablish that belt. And people kept saying, that's not a real belt. You're not a real world champion. And
there is no TNA.
And then, when TNA's back, he's the guy that wins that belt. So I do think that that's a great way to bring that full circle. But man, Nick Nemeth versus Alex Shelley does sound like a heater.
I will also say, bro, whoever pins Moose, we're not gonna feel bad about it. That's really That's really what it is. It's oh man, I'm about to make another comparison. Please don't hate me. Please don't hate me. Because I just saw this really recently. It's kind of like when everybody was hating on John Cena for winning, and we're like, anybody but John Cena, and then the Miz won, and we were like, okay, but we didn't really mean anybody.
Like, not anybody. Like, what? Hold on.
So no matter who pins Moose, because Moose is a piece of crap. Like, he's a good heel. He's a good heel. He's a great wrestler. He's a good heel. So no matter who pins him, it could be someone who's the future of TNA. You could even have a Speedball pin him. You'd be like, you know what? Good for you, Speedball, because Moose is a piece of crap. You can have, you're not going to feel that bad because.
Do you think that Nick Nemeth could possibly pin him?
I want to say, if he signs. If he signs for a little bit long term, I think it'll show the direction. But I would err on the side of caution doing that because it might turn into like, we're just going to sign ex-WWE guys.
Yeah, you don't want to run into that. Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't announced that he signed, but I think him ripping off his shirt and having the TNA shirt under it was a pretty big sign that he's committed for a while and he'll probably be there for a minute.
Yeah.
And just the way.
But where's he going to go? He's not trying to work back to WWE, I would think,
I mean, the way they announced it and the way they hyped it up, I don't think that they hyped this up like this was going to be somebody that's just going to be there for a few appearances. It seems like they're in the business of working with Nick at the moment. And I think that's a good opportunity for him. He, of course, did some interviews and he talked about how it was kind of a mutual exit with WWE where he was ready to try some other things. And I think TNA is a good landing spot for him because he's a guy that has been a world champion. He's a guy that is good enough in the ring and has the star power enough to carry that company as their top guy as well.
Yep.
I think that's smart. I think it's smart for him to go there. I thought maybe it was going to be Ali, but based off of other things.
I did too, low key, but I thought he was in New Japan, so that's why I was like, I don't think.
That's why I knew that it was going to be him when he showed up in New Japan. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be Nick at the TNA show because it just makes the way that they were talking about it, I'm like, because they're saying like this could be one of the greatest blah blah blahs ever and all this. I'm like, that's like, oh, you talk about world champions like this and Dolph Ziggler's. He just felt the mold so often, and it wasn't that shocking to see him at the end of the show. And I think he's going to have a pretty good run over in TNA.
Yeah.
Probably the best transition for him to make coming out of WWE. He's super interesting because like we only know of Dolph Ziggler. Like only thing we know about this guy's career is him being in WWE. So to see him out here is going to be super fun, I think. And going right into the fire of Impact of you're going to be facing Moose, Alex Shelley, Speedball, Laredo Kid, like
Jake something, God forbid.
Jake something, the Rascals. Like you're throwing into the fire. We're going to see if you still got it.
Yeah, no, I think this is, and it's not like he's going to be Moose's first opponent. So there is a chance that he may not even encounter Moose. You know what I mean? True. It's juicy, but the Impact this Thursday, he was like, I want to work my way up. I just don't want to cut the line. So he is going to have to go through a few people. So we'll see how that pans out. And Alex Shelley has an automatic rematch. He could get cheated out his boots because the system, these are full of cheaters. They're a bunch of cheaters. So
yeah, big old cheaters. But like I said, I thought it was a good show overall. I thought opening show back with the Knockouts Ultimate X match was good. I thought the women worked hard in that. It was good to see Giselle get a win because it seems like Giselle's been trying to work her way up for a while. So it made sense for her to win. Also with just like the stuff with Trinity, and Trinity is kind of on her way out, it made sense for, the person that Trinity had her first feud with to also be kind of moving up as well. So yeah, I mean, I thought like kind of the highlight of that match was Dani Luna. She had like
Dani
all of the
Luna.
big power spots in it. She was killing it.
Yeah, Dani Luna, I thought was the MVP of this match, just catching ladies out of the sky, power bombing them. I was like, yo, this is really good. That there was a couple of matches on the show that I felt could have used 2 or 3 more minutes, and I thought this was one of them. But I thought for the most part, everybody worked hard. It was a good representation of what TNA is and what they're becoming.
Yeah, I will say that my biggest complaint about this Hard to Kill and the TNA show was that I take notes. I have to write that stuff down. There's too much to write down. Dani Luna was an absolute good base. This match was amazing. And it's not lost on me that y'all would open up the show with an Ultimate X women's match. We've been raving and ranting. I don't know about you guys on Grapsody, but at least me, that the best representation of a women's division is Impact TNA. And this was a marquee reason why.
Yeah, I mean, Trinity went there for a reason, is why I always say, like, she knew that if I go here, I'm gonna face the baddest women wrestlers in the world. This division is ready to go, and it made sense that she went and did that there. And seeing this is like, it's like a mix of old and a mix of new in this Ultimate X match of like, this is the future of the Knockouts, but also the present and also kind of the past. I think they always do a good job of doing things like that.
Yeah. What did you guys think of how they kind of tacked a Knockouts tag match on here?
We were going into the show. I was like, why isn't there a knockout tag teams match?
We were saying that too. We were confusion as well, but
so what happened?
Yeah, I want to say travel issues, maybe. I don't know.
I actually think this was their way of bringing DK back as a surprise. Because that was the big surprise of the show, that they're back together.
I just liked MK Ultra so much, though.
I know.
They should have been losing the belts. This is a great tag team here.
I didn't want MK Ultra to lose, but I also saw with the way that they did the match and the way that they brought them back. It's like the big surprise coming in. I was like, oh, they're probably going to win. Rosemary at this point is a 4-time Knockouts tag team champion.
That's very TNA.
They're 3-time champions together. If you're counting,
I think it's beyond that with MK Ultra too. Like, they're 2 really good singles knockouts.
Yeah,
so they don't really have to stay together because you can slot them into the main event scene of the Knockouts division instantly.
I'm gonna be real with you too. We need Jordan Grace versus Masha Slamovich, and Masha needs to go over on Grace, and that's real. That's real.
Just started.
And then not right now, but they had matches before, and those matches slapped. And even then, we were like, how is Grace gonna beat this redhead? She's a monster. How is she gonna beat her? And she did. But this time, Masha needs to go over on Grace. I'm just saying, and maybe not now, and maybe they don't need to break up yet, because I do like MK Ultra together. But these are 2 great single stars.
Listen, I love Masha. I would actually have her beat Moose, but that's just me.
Hey! Oh, he cooking.
They almost made she who should not be named the world champion, or she was world champion.
I was about to say almost. They did.
I mean, they made she who should not be named world champion. Like, Masha would be my world champion. That's just
Grace could have called her shot and did it, but she did it. You could have did it with Deonna. She not here no more. Grace or Masha, I could see Masha putting Moose in a snowplow.
I'm saying,
I mean,
that'd be funny. I would laugh. I'd be sports entertained.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this was a good return for DK as well. I think this was very TNA bringing them back. They're no longer the Deathly Dolls.
Death Dolls,
sorry.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was fine. I mean, it was what it was. I thought that there was more they could have done with MK Ultra. I didn't think that they really used them well at the pay-per-views, and this was kind of indicative of that.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, it seems like the build-up, like on the shows, we know that they're badass women. But then every time we get to the pay-per-view, they're left off or nowhere to be found. It's like, well, why don't you guys have your knockout tag team champs here?
Yeah, and I feel like not announcing a match and then kind of using this as a vehicle to bring back to Decay and then giving Decay to win. I wasn't really the biggest fan of that, but you know, I am a fan of those 2 women. I do think Rosemary and Havoc are great. I just wish that they hadn't done it this way. But you know, shout out to them. I thought the X Division match was really good.
Fire.
Which with the guys attached to this match, you knew was going to be good. Chris Sabin took on Vikingo and Kushida. This match was fire as we expected. No real surprises there.
Vikingo was being Vikingo, doing all the wild shit. He
Course.
did that inside the ring, outside the ramp, 450 splash, and it's like, how do you do this? I don't really understand how this happened. But yeah, kind of the result we expected, just along the lines of what Cresta was talking about with Jordan and Moose. Chris Sabin, I mean, X Division and Chris Sabin are like brother and sister at this point. Like, he's so synonymous with that championship. Him going into this new era as the X Division champ makes so much sense.
And it was literally the past, present, future colliding.
Yeah.
Chris Sabin is, like you said, the X Division. Kushida could technically be the present because he's in and out. And Vikingo is Vikingo. He's clearly a future X Division champion if he chooses to stay. He's so out of this world. I gotta shout out that hoverboard lock that Kushida had on Sabin, and then out of nowhere, Vikingo just does it like I don't want to say it was a 450, but he does something. He just stomps on, but it was not a mess, but like it was so good. This match was superb. This whole card was good.
This card was fire.
So good. You had Kushida trying to lock in the hoverboard lock on the top rope. Sabin getting out of it. He was trying to lock it in toward the finish of the match. I thought the finish of this match was also very good. The way that Sabin kind of went for the finisher to avoid the hover lock, because you knew once he got that hoverboard lock in, it was over. I thought that was very good, which that tied into the show as well, because you had Chris Sabin and Kushida coming out for the save to get System out of here. Wasn't enough to stop Moose from getting that W, though.
Such a pretentious name.
It is.
Very, very pretentious. Other really good match. I thought the tag match was good. Of course, that was the same as this match.
Oh, yeah, the four-way.
Four-way, very good. Grizzled Young Veterans and the Rascals and the team of
ABC.
Bailey and Laredo took on ABC. Very good match.
Yeah, everybody in this was like, what's the X Division? Oh, here it is in tag team style. Everybody just go 100 miles per hour. You got the Speedball has been the X Division Wrestler of the Year, Match of the Year 2 years in a row. You got to have him representing. ABC's one of the best tag teams legit in the whole world, not just Impact. I kind of hate that they're only getting this shine on Impact, because people don't be watching Impact and they don't know how incredible these two guys are. Like them. Their style, the way that they combine moves together, the way that they work. I love that little moment where Ace Austin kind of missed the kick, but then he ended up getting it. And then he was like, that was my bad. Like this, just like the way that they work together. Tremendous, tremendous work. The Rascals are Impact legends at this point. TNA,
yeah,
what they represent, they needed to be here too. This match was just balls to the wall, spot food, the shit that I love.
Honestly, such a good match. And also too, the Laredo Kid was swapped in for Trent Seven, because I think Trent Seven got stuck in travel issues. So shout out to Laredo Kid and Speedball making it work, bro. This match was so good. I love ABC. I was never really like high on Ace Austin until he got in the ABC. They like Chris Bay gave him that strength, he gave him that razzle, because they're so good together. They're such a good tag team together, and I'm really glad that they didn't break them up randomly. Like I want them to be forever champions, but also I know this is a cliche thing. I think them ping ponging it with the Rascals would be cute, because I like the Rascals as well.
Yeah,
the Rascals are fire.
Definitely want to see more of Grizzled Young Veterans as well.
They're so good.
If they would have won, I would have been happy about it too.
I wouldn't have hated that.
And they looked great in this match. They looked big. They looked angry. Their strikes were on point. Like, they are a contender in any company. Like, this 2024 is Grizzled Young Vets year for sure.
How do you fumble that bag, NXT WW? How?
They turned these guys into some gothic fucking losers or whatever they were at the end. That was weird.
You know what this reminds me of?
Every time I hear them talk, I'm like, they didn't have these guys talking every week. What the hell was going on here?
That is the thing that blew my mind about the whole thing. If you just tell me that they needed to change character, but I'm like, bro, if you watched NXT UK, why on earth would you not just let Zach Gibson talk? Like,
yeah,
make
I don't
sense.
understand. Like,
let him talk,
bro. Like, I always wonder, like, with them, and especially FTR. Yo, what was you doing, baby? What is you doing? What was you doing?
But hey, man, it feels like we're back. Tyler Bate is on the main roster. Pete Dunne is back. Grizzled Young
Peter
Veterans
Dune
are back.
is back. Yeah,
Man, the Brit Rest guys are back, man. It's good. It's
I mean,
Gunther's the best wrestler in the company. Like, they are.
Yeah, man. Look,
I want Gunther to go for the world title. I like that he's Intercontinental Championship, but you do not need to have that. And Roman, you gotta come to work at some point.
Gunther's kind of been lost in the shuffle. Like 6 months ago, I was saying that Gunther was going to win the Royal Rumble, and nobody's saying that Gunther's going to win the Royal Rumble now.
I don't even think he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Is he?
He is. He declared. He did a whole promo this week where he talked about it. Come on, man. He did the whole spot after Survivor Series after he beat the snot out of Miz and said, "I am going to be in the Rumble."
Considering what he did last year, I wonder how they play him this year. You know what I mean? Because they had him do the Iron Man role.
Yeah.
What with Punk looming, Cody looming, like those two are the names that everybody thinks is going to win. But like Gunther has a dog in this fight.
Punk.
I have to imagine with
Gunther and Punk at WrestleMania might kind of hit too.
I have to imagine with the discourse at one point. Remember when people thought that Punk literally meant he didn't like being chopped hard? I think they're gonna make a joke out of this in this match. Just knowing how Punk is,
I forgot about that.
I cannot see him not having an exchange with Gunther and Gunther chopping him really hard.
I say, get that shit out of here.
But yeah, man, really, really glad ABC got that win here. I really want to see them in the New Japan Junior Tag League this year.
Yeah, same.
Come on, man, make that jump to Japan. It pains me every time I see Bullet Club stuff and those guys are not there. You guys are in the Bullet Club. Why?
Y'all are Bullet Club.
Yeah.
I would love to see them in Japan in the Junior Tag League.
And they just fit into the new version of the Bullet Club so well. It's like, why aren't you?
I know.
Y'all would hit really hard in here.
If the ass boys are in the Bullet Club and get representation, we can get representation.
The Bang Bang Game's theme this week, though.
I mean, yes and no, but I gotta say Danhausen really cursed them boys. I'm like, ass scissor bang ass.
Come on, man. Bang Bang Gang. Hey, man, not for nothing. Bang Bang Gang got heated, bro. That theme is fire, bro.
That theme is so good. I hate that it's good.
Reg almost wrote some bars. I'm like, yo, hold on a minute. Let me put my phone
down. How you feeling, man? Austin came to the studio and told Mikey we got one. Yeah.
Austin came in with the fake Primo track. I'm not mad at it. It's kind of hard though. No, I'm like, yo, hey, what's up with this? Where you get these drums from, big dog?
Nah,
who's producing this? You talking to Timmy later?
I'm saying, who ghost produced this? I don't believe it. I need to see the video you making this.
Nah, hey man, gotta give him his credit, man. He came through it either.
Listen, big guns hater over here. That shit bangs. I cannot.
Same.
No denying over here. That shit's fire. Listen, I don't know what went on in the studio, but y'all did it.
It's kind of like when y'all came out to Many Men. I was mad.
I'm saying, like, I'm still mad about it, Cressa, but like, it's undeniable. That shit was hard.
It was good. And then that's the first time y'all did I hated them. I hated them so bad.
Like, don't make me compliment y'all. I hate that theme this week. I'm like, oh, they're gonna make me compliment them with this fucking theme. I hate that. Don't do that. I want to come on here and bury y'all every time.
I gotta call you the ass boys, but if you ask me about your theme, like,
come on, man.
It was good.
Bro, debut some new music. Got some gold, man. Come on, man. Guns up.
They're getting gold. I'm on the fence on Ring of Honor.
I guess.
Yeah, man. Guns up, baby.
I have thoughts, but yeah, good shit. That theme is fire.
Yeah. We got more super chats.
Yeah, we do got a bunch. Let's get into them. Leonard Aarons III says, children shouldn't be shamed for believing in Santa when there are still adults believing in the Cowboys.
Damn.
And yes, Lakers fans have experienced hard times. Magic's retirement, 2010 to present.
Yeah, I won a championship in that time, 2010 to present. What do you mean?
Right, come on.
Damn, not to knock it off.
They don't be counting the bubble championship and shit. That's why.
But let me say that bubble championship don't count. Then I'm a hater, right? Let me be the one to say it. All right, bro.
Chi-Town Spurs says, Phil, you know it's crazy when Chicagoans are laughing at the Cowboys being whipped by the Packers, but that was a vibe. Speaking of Chicago, Jack Perry versus Shota Umino is going to be a scene at Wintrust.
Yeah, will be very interesting to see Jack Perry possibly have his New Japan
show in Chicago,
in the city of Chicago.
Wolfenstein.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
How y'all feel about that, Chicagoan?
It don't bother me. I don't hate Jack. But yeah, I conflicted thoughts seeing the Packers in the playoffs and beating the Cowboys. I enjoyed it, but hey, man, Packers got to get out of here as well. As long as they get out of here next week.
Jay Holler says Kenny Okada wrestling a Wrestle Kingdom style match at Mania would cause an aneurysm in certain corners of wrestling media. Would be hilarious.
Yeah. But see, I don't think if you're Tony Khan, you sign Kenny Omega and you've had him for 4 years and you make a partnership with New Japan all this time with the hopes that you can be the guy that brings Omega Okada 5 to American soil to let them take that match away from you. No. I just don't see that happening. I think if we see that match, it's going to happen on AEW television.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be a cold day in hell if that happens.
A really cold day. It'd be freezing there. Cookie Dough 58 says, no matter what was planned, they got to put Hook into the TNT/international title match at Revolution after Wednesday. He can't fall back down the card.
Oh, I agree with that.
Listen, man. Can we just admit that all of this discourse from this time last week aged very, very poorly? If you were one of those guys that were like, Hook doesn't matter and who the fuck is Hook? Or, Team Gender. Buddy.
Team Gender.
Buddy, I have to tell you, man, that aged really poorly for you. And look, I, of course, am not going to make it seem like Gender injured Rollins, because this just seemed like it was a freak accident. Again, it seemed like the way Rollins landed, it had nothing to do with Gender. But regardless of that, nobody is talking about the actual match itself because the match was just average. It was nothing great about it. But in contrast, buddy, Joe versus Hook was a banger, man.
Come on now.
Hooking.
Yeah.
Hooking. All the elements that you would want of a big main event match. This thing, at the end of it, every Hook was more over than he was coming into the match.
Yes.
I think the position and role that Samoa Joe, it showed how important Samoa Joe is as the world champion in one match. Like this right here was like, oh, that's why he's world champion, because he can elicit emotions and things like that. When he tried to kill Hook in front of his dad by slamming him onto a table, breaking his neck almost, I'm like, his dad is right there. I don't think you could do this.
I was screaming, jump him, Taz! Save your son!
Help your kid, man.
Yeah, no, man, this was that Uranagi. It wasn't even through the table, on the corner of the table.
Yeah.
It looked so painful.
I'm like, wait a second. This is a Darby Allin style bump. I don't think
yo.
This isn't for a Hook. I think you got the bumps wrong. This is crazy.
Yeah,
right in front of his daddy, I'm like, yo, Samoa Joe don't care about nothing.
Samoa Joe is a bad man. That's a bad man.
Listen, man. I hate to say this as well for people because you guys know that I've been saying this worst time. Boy, watching that match, I was like, man, if you don't have plans to keep this belt on Joe for a little bit longer than we expect, you might have to be making plans because this guy, this guy's cooking, man.
That's like I said, you see how he handles a main event match. The point where Hook was on the outside and Samoa Joe gets in the ring and he's just being Joe. I'm like, this is a motherfucking world champ. Ain't nobody gonna be able to beat him. I got hype. I was like, okay, I see I've been seeing the vision, but I saw it even more.
Joe is Joe, man. The guy looks
another one. You got him fucked up. They thought this guy was washed up. No, it's Samoa Joe, brother. He's out.
Yes.
I love Samoa Joe, bro. I think putting the title on him was the right decision. And like you said, if you guys were just like, oh, we're just going to have him for and then I think you need to really reconsider that. Like, this match really put over a Hook in defeat, and Hook got his ass beat. He tried. He lifted Joe off his feet, but Joe beat this man in front of his pappy, in front of Taz. Taz who never been choked out. He choked out Taz and so who never been choked out. I never seen nothing like that in my life.
Taz had to take his headphones off and really take in this moment of his son getting dragged.
Again, listen, man. A lot of narratives going into last week did not age very well. People that were like AEW fans just want the matches. They don't want the story. The storytelling in this match was tremendous.
Come on now.
Come on, man. Hook going into his first main event carrying his dad's belt, which historically means you are the uncrowned champion when he only has one loss on his record. No, man, the storytelling is there. Taz on commentary, Taz putting over how great this is. Taz putting over at several points how worried he was when he put him through the table and he's standing over him and Hook flips him off and Taz is like, no, don't do that. What are you doing? All very great stuff. All very good storytelling. Taz putting his headphones back on when Hook went for the comeback, when he kicks out a muscle buster at 1. I know some people were upset about that, but I thought it was tremendous. Him kicking out and then going on a comeback spot, hitting this man with a T-bone that looked fucking crispy, man.
He lifted this man up. How, Sway? He lifted up a brick.
Yeah, as someone who has complained on the internet very recently about 1 count kickouts, this was the opposite of that. This is why I complain about them, because when they really hit, they really hit. And this 1 count kickout out the muscle buster hit so hard, and it made Hook look so strong, and it didn't take away from the fucking muscle buster. Like, this is all the elements needed for a 1 count kickout. That's why when you're randomly doing a 1 count kickout on Rampage, don't, dude. Like, save them for the moments that are needed. Moments like this.
I thought everything around this was great. I think Hook taking this beating and coming back. I was sitting there towards the end of the match, even after the match was over, and Samoa Joe started beating him down some more. I was like, this is very ECW style booking. I don't know if that was just me, but it was. Totally. You could see like that kind of storytelling from ECW. I thought this was very, very good. I thought this was a great main event. I thought it made both of those guys look really good. And I agree, man. I think coming out of this, you got to make a plan for what you're doing next with Hook, man, because I think you got something. I mean, you knew that for a while. People had tried to make him out to be a meme wrestler, but I think when you see him inside the ropes, this guy is really actually very good. He's got it. He's got the mystique. He's got the mannerisms. The man comes out there and wrestles in Air Ones, man. Come on, man.
I think this match showed the versatility of Hook because, like you said, people thought he was a mean wrestler. We've only really seen him in squashes and on the offensive side of his match. So to see him in peril, selling, having to fight from underneath against Joe, I think is great for his career. And yeah, we need to see more coming off the backs of it.
I would love that too. I totally agree with you guys. I think Hook in this situation showed, much like Daniel Garcia did during the Continental Classic, why he could be a front runner, why he could be someone that you could trust in this company for better or for worse. Because like you said, we've only ever seen him on the offensive. Seeing him that night, I don't even know how that boy's still alive. Like literally, it kind of felt like, what happened to that boy?
Samoa Joe trying to kill him, I think.
It was a good match, though. It was a really good match. Yeah. I have a lot more respect for Hook. Like, I knew he was good, but I was like, meh, whatever. But seeing that, I was like, yo, stop the match. Yo, what is happening? And he wouldn't quitting him. And then post-match, that was adrenaline in his soul. Something
for him to be like, wow,
I want more.
I don't know how you knew our next super chat had to do with that, but that's funny. Adrenaline in my soul, WrestleMania host Cody Rhodes. I don't know.
Yo,
how you connected these
Cleo, I'm a psychic.
Yeah,
there you go.
I don't know, man. But yeah, definitely got to do more. And man, look, I think they had the presentation down pat before when he was coming down and having Action Bronson theme music, but adding the hook signal, man.
The hook signal.
I'm fucking with
it. That hook, baby, it writes itself.
It does. It does. Everything was great in this. Samoa Joe looks like a fucking monster. I think Hangman and Swerve coming out of this look good too, just kind of being on the outside. But this was Hook's night. Like Hook became a big star over here. And I think doing more things like this is only going to make it bigger. We're going to have to stop ignoring the young homie. You know,
Yeah,
it's gonna make Taz happy.
You gotta give him some kind of big rivalry. I know he had the rivalry with Jack last year, but I think you gotta give him some more storyline soon, man. You got something special in this guy. But yeah, I think it was a good Dynamite overall. Man, Top Flight and man, listen, man, can't even get it all the way out because this match was just so fire, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but Top Flight Private Party, buddy, them guys was cooking, bro.
I'm telling you, this was this is going to be a rivalry we see for a long time. I think this match right here was great. They're knocking off the dust. Mark Quinn is trying to get back acclimated to being in a high impact situation. I love the work of Top Flight. I think in this position, they're getting older, they're getting wiser, they're becoming veterans, they're moving different. Private Party they just have this energy that you can't replicate. And I love them combining these two tag teams together. I thought was really important. This was just an appetizer. I think this was great. I loved everything that they're doing, but when they really get time in the kickoff, that's when we're going to do it. This is great. These are two of my favorite tag teams in the history of AEW, like coming up. Private Party initially was like the guys. And then when I saw Top Flight, they just changed my whole perspective. So for these two to face off, Dynamite, and they all cook. I loved it.
Yeah, tag team wrestling is back on Dynamite. The tag division had been a little bit questionable for a while, but boy, this match was fire, man. Watching the evolution of Dante, man. Dante going from a guy that does the big spots, does the big athletic moves, and seeing this guy pull off power moves in this match, I was like, what?
He's a buff.
What?
He's in the gym.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this guy, man, just continues to impress me, man. And I mean, not for nothing, man. I think people pay a lot of attention to Dante because he's the Jeff of his team. He does all the big flashy stuff. But guy Darius also very, very good as well.
Darius, he got strikes, man. His chops are underrated.
Like, I think the evolution of Private Party and both Top Flight is crazy because they even said this on commentary too, how both times when they're both healthy enough, somebody gets injured, and they've both been wrestling without each other together. So to see all four of these guys, and I love them in the same conversation. It does remind me of like old school Jeff Hardy. Like the both of them remind me of the Hardy Boys. Why couldn't I think of their names? Jesus Christ. They remind me of the Hardy Boys OD, and it's like, it's refreshing because it's not, but it is. You know what I mean? It's I don't know how to describe it. It's so nice, and I want them to never be injured. I like Action Andretti, but he could be the thirsty light-skinned cousin on the outside.
Nah, when whoever that was on Twitter compared them to like modern day Edge and Christian versus the Hardys, I was like, I can see it. Like, you can see in like Private Party, just like the antics they do and everything, and just like the comedy and everything. I was like, it's such a good comparison. I'm of course not saying like in terms of like a 1-to-1 comparison, but you can see see like in terms of their rivalry how similar it is.
Because the top flight are no nonsense like the Hardy Boys. They don't talk a lot. They just fucking go out there, do high spots, round it out, and then Private Parties with the antics. They take pictures. They're happy. They do promos and shit. Yeah. It's actually a pretty apt comparison. I'm excited about the future of this tag team division. I think getting the Young Bucks back, getting these two teams back, and everything that's kind of presented in AEW, it's going to be really good going into the future of 2024. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Let's get into a few more super chats before we move forward. Eloquent says, Staten Stoke, my favorite story in AEW.
Stokely Hathaway is the best. This period. He is a menace to society.
The homie brought up Soul Plane on Rampage, so
hilarious.
Soul Plane. Man,
hilarious.
What a guy.
This is the same guy who brought up a Tupac line, said, I'm not a killer, but don't push me. That's Tupac.
No, I think what makes that funnier every time I see it is the fact that he had to tell you afterwards, that's Tupac.
That's Tupac. Yes.
But yeah, been saying for weeks, I think that is the best thing going on right now with AEW is just the progression of the women's division. You can complain about the time slot. You can complain there's still one match on the card, but you can see the storylines. Like, there's so many storylines with the women, man. And I think that is a step in the right direction. I just hope to see more of that this year.
Yeah, I think that they're about to run with how their roster. We talked a lot about Okada and the men's roster, but the women's roster the same way. Like they're stacked over here. They just got Diona. Mercedes is somewhere in the world potentially coming over. Thunder Rosa's back. They're already stacked rosters that they have. Like, yo, it's gonna be some. Deeb is back too. Yeah, I think that like it's gonna be competition in a good way for the women's division moving forward, and they're gonna get to that. They're undeniable. You got all these big women stars. You have to put them on TV, and you can't just put one story on them.
Yeah. And Toni Storm being this delusional gimmick is top tier. I aspire to be that delusional one day.
Very, very funny stuff. Her cutting that promo towards the end where she was talking and she cut Mariah off and she was holding her face the whole time she was talking. Really, really funny stuff. Just naturally funny stuff. It doesn't feel like they're giving her cues. She's just doing this stuff probably improvising. Really, really funny.
She's tremendous. Smiley says, "Hey y'all, hope y'all having a good day. About to go get these acrylics done and take my ass home. It's cold. Chicago style wrestling and freelance is now having a war, and I'm here for it. Hi, Original. Hello, Tracy, my friend. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're staying warm. Are you snowed in too, Krista? Is there snow over in New York?"
There is, but New York City don't play about their snow. They shovel it because these kids is going to school. These kids is going to school, so it's dirty snow at this point, and it's probably all gone. It wasn't really
dirty snow.
Nah, New York City do not play. They're like, no, these little kids is going to school. That shit is gone already.
Yeah, of course. I still don't know anything about this. We got some rain, but that's it. That's where it stops.
You're in Cali, right?
California. Yeah, I don't care about that snow shit. Delayed Grass says, I love the CM Punk match. Oh, wait, he's packed up in bubble wrap in a freezer in the back until Rumble, and they took his phone away.
Now, listen, man, they want the Rumble match to be a moment, but that's even more why I feel like he's winning, man. I feel like the fact that they're making that his first match, how many times does a wrestler return in their first match they lose? You don't really see it that often, man.
We've seen a couple of times of people returning specifically to the Royal Rumble and winning too. So
yes, yeah. I feel like this is all setting up for him to win.
Right. Sorry. Ragav says, "Happy Grapsody Day. Hope Seth can make it to Mania healthy. Man's luck has been so bad. Hope y'all are well. Great to see Cresta on Grapsody."
Yeah.
Yo, Phil was like, "What you doing Saturday on Thursday?" And I was like, "What up?" He's like, "Come to Grapsody." I'm like, "I'm here, baby. I'm gonna be on Collision for night 2, baby."
Big Grapsody, big Graps. Eloquist says Jade Cargill gonna be in the Rumble, right?
Has to be.
I think so.
I feel like she has to be at this point. I made such a big deal about signing her. Like, why would you do that just?
Well, what's up with that? When she came in, they were talking about her every week, but they haven't talked about her in a bunch of weeks at this point.
Shenanigans. That's what that is.
How would you guys feel if this is all setting up for Jade to throw a returning Trinity out of the ring, and that sets up the WrestleMania match?
Oh, tomato.
What? Why tomatoes?
I'm just
that's a good one.
Trinity. I don't.
Trinity's not gonna win the Rumble, Cresta.
She's not gonna win the Rumble. She's not gonna win the Rumble, and I feel like that's a good way to get Jade booed as well.
Why would you do that?
Because
I don't know. I gotta see it.
Because like if you're gonna bring somebody new in that can take a loss to Trinity and give Trinity a big win at WrestleMania and have like a heel Jade, we've seen heel Jade and she's good at it.
Okay.
I think the promos write themselves as well. Like, look, you're old. I'm in here. I'm new. I am new hotness. You had to run away and go to TNA and cry because you didn't get your way. This is my division now. Like, come on, bro. Write the story, bro.
I mean, she's like, how's this your division? You just got here. You wasn't even really doing over. Yeah, I can see it. But
bro, I would be here for it. I think that is actually a smart way to get them both on a WrestleMania card and to do a one-on-one match with them. I think it makes sense.
I'd have to see it because I am notorious for being, I don't like it, and then see it and be, I was sports entertained. So I gotta see it. I
Cresta, don't not let it play out. You gotta let it play out, Cresta.
Listen, at first it sounds like disgusting. Again, I gotta see it.
No, Richard. That's not how I really feel. I'm saying Jade in character would say things that way because of course she would feel that way.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see everything Phyllis saying is valid. I could see Jade saying something like that because Jade, to me, is good on the mic, better than people give her credit for.
Yeah.
She's real slick with the mouth,
and she's great at being a heel.
And I could see Trinity saying, "Okay, but why you have to go? There's a million other girls you want to go against me. I just got here. I could see it. But I don't like it.
Work.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I gotta tell you, I don't like it. Why we gotta put the two equally bad bitches against each other? I don't like it.
Hey, maybe they're gonna team up and form a tag team. I don't know.
I don't like that either. I don't like that.
What do you mean? We don't like nothing. You don't like nothing.
You don't gotta put them to tag. She literally just left because she's in this raggedy tag team, and those belts is cursed. I don't want them.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Them belts is cursed.
I don't want Trinity to be tag team champions either. She
deserves better than that. I don't like that either. If she's a singles competitor, put a rocket on her. Charlotte, get out of here now.
I mean, I don't think we're going to see Charlotte because Charlotte's injured.
Well, you know
not what she looking like. She's trying to get back before WrestleMania look like with all of her little posts. I'm like,
yeah, I have seen her in the
down,
lab.
girl.
She is in the lab.
I respect it though. Leonard Aarons III says TNA did more for Trinity in half a calendar year than WWE did in twice that amount of times. I mean, facts
might be facts. Might be facts.
Yeah.
Did win at WrestleMania in her hometown. So
there's a big WrestleMania win. There's a couple of things there. I'm not mad at it. Will Chisholm says, I think Bayley wins at Rumble. Damage Control turns on her. That SmackDown. It feels like Io is the leader and Dakota cuts the promos, like how AJ was Bullet Club leader and Carl Anderson would do the promo.
Does sound very similar.
I've been
saying this for the longest. I see people that are like, Dakota's going to get kicked out. I was like, y'all not paying attention. Dakota is the mastermind of this whole thing.
She's going to do the kicking out. Yeah, she's not kicking nobody out.
She's the middleman for now, but...
Yeah, I don't even think she's the middleman. I think that she is the mastermind behind this whole thing.
No, I'm saying, like, on the outside, she's the middleman. Because she's like, listen, I'm just trying to be like...
Oh, yeah.
She's not the middleman. She is the mastermind, but...
A mastermind, yeah. Dakota's the one. When is Dakota ever gonna not be injured anymore? I want to see her back.
I think she gave an update on Twitch where she was saying she's still working to get back. She's not sure yet.
Gotcha.
So,
Yes Boy says line of the week last night. Stoke telling Willow maybe she won't be late. If she didn't fly Soul Plane and flew on a more dedicated airline like United or Delta.
Yeah, very funny stuff.
Stokely Hathaway is a menace to society.
I say it every week, man. But he should be on TV so much more than he is. He's just
honestly a permanent fixture on TV.
He's such a good talker.
Chuck J says because Cresta melts my heart with the heart. Chuck J said something about that.
Give us your wallet. I'm kidding.
Them New York women are so aggressive. You see that? She got a compliment and she said, "Give me your wallet." It's like, yo,
nah, man,
put the gun down.
That meme.
Bang bang gang. I was calling them ass boys. Then y'all got mad. I started living the gimmick. Now it's too much. That's crazy.
See? Okay. Will Chisholm says, "R-Truth selling Judgment Day merch outside and giving Damien a stack. Pop me. That man is a hoot."
R-Truth is one of the funniest people in the world, man. I could not stop thinking about him doing the TNA rap last week during Hard to Kill, man.
That's all every time I hear TNA, anytime somebody says TNA, that's the first thing that pops into my head. So I've heard that song in my head at least 100 times this week.
TNA, it's about to go down.
Ooh, yo, R-Truth is a gem, and he's one of those. He's the living definition of make it work.
He gonna find a way.
Sorry. Any situation he's put in, he's gonna turn it into a positive. It's crazy.
24/7 title.
Man,
wasn't he like the 30-time champion?
He's like 37 or 47 times.
Bro, they just showed that clip recently of him going to Drake Maverick's wedding and pinning him at his wedding. I was like,
yeah.
This was the only time the 24/7 title mattered, was those two making it matter. Nobody else that's held that belt mattered. It's just those two. They had the best run of back and forth with that belt.
I forgot about that belt. What a time that was. We used to live in some wild times, man.
We don't need that belt no more. It's cool.
We used to live in some wild times. Cookie Dough 58 says, Christian trying to adopt Hook writes itself.
Bro. Again, if you're letting me have this pencil, Hook is the guy that should beat Christian, man.
Yeah.
I don't hate that because
guy.
if Hook gets adopted by Christian, if that don't lead to Taz choking out Christian, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm not gonna be lying to you. I don't want it.
Corey Davis says thoughts on Oba Femi progression.
That's a man, Maury. That's not no 20-something years.
That's
That's a
man.
man.
That's a big man.
Hey, man,
Big
shout out
man.
to him. I think that's a big win, getting a breakout tournament win, getting a North American Championship win. I believe he is the youngest in the history of that belt. First NIL guy to come over there and win some gold. Shout out to him, man. Of course, I can't sit here and talk about his progression because he hasn't been there that long. So we got to let it play out.
Anything.
But I am really happy that he's gotten over with fans and he's gotten such a big win straight away.
Yeah, it seems like the big bro is over, so I like that. It seems like people are behind him. He's the champion already. Like, everything seems good, but let the man develop before we start crowning him world champion and shit. I hate when that happens.
Yeah,
like, this guy's the guy. Have him beat Roman now. It's like, wait, let him.
Yeah,
He just
let him
got
be in
here,
NXT
bro.
I
first.
just got there. Well, let's see what we have in him first, man. What I've seen of him, he looks really good though.
But yeah, he looks like he's gonna be a big star from them, and he's a black man, so that's cool. LaRon Ford says Stoke is a menace, especially with those cameos from George Santos and Kurt Angle.
my God.
Getting a cameo from George Santos, I was like, yo.
Was that really George Santos, or was that? I know there's a few drag queens that impersonate George Santos.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
So I thought that was a drag queen impersonating George Santos because it's one that looks just like George Santos. I'm like, if you really got George Santos, Stokely Hathaway, jail, prison.
Yeah, no, take him in, lock him up, and throw away the key. And then our last super chat is Krista can go for this one. Thoughts on Osprey versus Alexander match, part 2. How was it?
Yo, bro, that match at one point, because I had to take notes. I just stopped writing and started watching that match. It was so good, and Alexander got his lick back. So, that's gonna be good when there's the third match. That match is so good. Will Osprey is an amazing wrestler. But for a very long time, Josh Alexander was the unsung hero of Impact Wrestling. Yeah. He was the standard bearer. He was the champion. And I think it was either 2022, and it was 2022 because right at the end, he got injured. Nobody would be able to talk about the greatest world champion. Nobody was including Josh Alexander. And it was kind of annoying because he was tearing it up in Impact. He was putting on classic after classic. So him having this match against Will Osprey, so good. And Will Osprey had to dig deep, and then you still lost. Come on, Canadian boy. I encourage you to go watch the first one because Will Osprey beat his ass the first match. I'm not going to lie. But this match, this man hit... Will Osprey is tall, so is Josh Alexander. So why are both of you tall mother lovers doing a Styles Clash? It was so good. Please go watch that match. It was so good. It was a very TNA Impact. It was a great match. It was beyond great. 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
I think TNA just put it up for free on YouTube too.
They sure did. Please go and watch it. Get you a cup of coffee or whatever you guys drink,
Yeah, I think it's better than that first match, honestly. I think the second match is really, really good. Man, Alexander had a really good match with Hammerstone as well.
He did. Shout out to Hammerstone.
That's a big man. Josh Alexander is a big man. Alex Hammerstone is a bigger man, and that's crazy. And I've never seen Josh Alexander ragdoll the way Hammerstone ragdolled him.
Yeah. Hammerstone's a big boy. Big buff boy. Oh, we got one more from Will Chisholm who says, remember when R-Truth and Pac-Man Jones won the TNA titles? That's so TNA back in the day. Pac-Man Jones was at the show on
I wasn't watching TNA during
TNA.
I don't know. I have to go see this rap.
It's right here in WWE, and we've been waiting for y'all. You gotta go watch it.
And we gonna knock your block off. Come on, man.
Going.
I've only been watching TNA since I started covering it here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be a fraud, bro. I'll go back and watch some things like the Aces and Eights and they say all men are created equal. But you look at me as Samoa Joe, and you can see that statement is not true. And my other favorite, I don't know about the 4 horsemen, but it looks like they took a dump in the ring. That Jay Lethal promo, rent free in my mind.
That's all of our super chats, you guys. Thank you for your support today. Y'all are cool.
I think we have a few more Humper chats. Hold on.
Humpies.
All right. Yeah, Ron Killings is a legend, man. Just seeing somebody say K Quick forever. Yes. Spend your time talking about Ron Killings and not Brian, because he was always the better part of that act.
Yeah.
Fight me. Let's see. From R, happy Grapsody Day. I'm worried about the Japan scene because Triple H once said they had plans for NXT Japan. That was before the heart issues, but if you've seen what UFC has done with the Performance Center in China, I could see them revisiting them. I don't think the Japanese market is going to just let Triple H come in and do what he did to Britt Racine.
No,
not at all.
Can't see it.
Yeah, but I am concerned about the Japanese scene with some of the stuff.
They did disform that union recently too, I think, to counteract that, so it doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. You have to pay those boys over there, and once you start there, that's definitely
it's different. Yeah, it's way different.
And it's gonna trickle over there. It's gonna trickle over here, and they don't want to do that.
Yeah. Let's see, from Joseph Cure, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Got to watch Roxanne versus Mia Friday, and met Mason Madden last weekend at ROW. Pro wrestling is so much fun. Ready to watch my Texans later today. He also said Medi Rankowski is going to be great for NXT. Pete Dunne is back doing Pete Dunne things. WWE did some good things this week. I think Medi Rankowski is a great get for NXT.
I'm excited for to see how it shapes up in NXT, especially going into. I've been making so many jokes going into being on CW. I'm so excited to see how they transition into that.
Yeah, and can't say enough that I'm excited that Pete Dunne is back.
Yes.
Let's never speak of that Butch thing again.
No, it's over.
Yeah, Butch, if you bring it up.
Yeah, no more.
Yeah, don't need to talk about it. From Nelson Muncie asked, I asked this months ago, but how well has WWE Triple H, booked Gargano and Candice on the main roster?
Where's Candice?
Haven't seen Candice very often.
Man.
At least now that Gargano and Ciampa are DIY again, it's getting a bit better. You can tell they're priming them for a run as a tag team. But it was real sketchy for a minute there with Johnny, man. It wasn't looking really good, man. We don't see enough of Candice for me to judge. I guess that's kind of indicative of how poorly they booked her. But I wish they would do more with it. She's so good that she's got, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why they haven't booked her better. I feel like it kind of started with NXT. When they didn't put the title on her, I could feel like maybe they don't see it in her like I think they do. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think that DIY is going to benefit more when they eventually split these damn tag team belts up. But I don't know. It's just
they gotta do.
They got to. With how many tag teams they're starting to get stacked on both rosters, like they got to do something.
Yeah, they got to do something with those belts. Hopefully by Royal Rumble. I hope we're not going into WrestleMania with Judgment Day still holding both those belts.
No, we can't.
Sounds bad. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's getting better with DIY, but still need to see with Candice. I guess Candice and Indy were on Monday, but not much to really judge on. We got one more from Tony P. He says, "I feel Seth will main event if it isn't too bad. If you can ignore your 30-day rule for champs with Roman and Brock, do it for Seth if he needs to heal. Also, the way TNA kicked off the pay-per-view with Eric and the women was right move and made me hype." That's right, because they did start it with the video package with Eric walking around, looking into the camera down the strip, hanging out in the streets of Vegas, looking ominously into the camera. I think that was a good way to start the show. Then we got one last Humper chat from Van Twinblade. He says, next week when Hook has a match, Joe comes out right before the bell rings, sits right next to you and puts puts on headphones, says something like, "That's my son now. He best not lose." Joe Young, sweep the leg hook.
With Taz sitting right there, that'd be crazy.
That'd be absolutely crazy. Taz
Listen,
might
Taz
jump
got
out
to
of
choke
his
him
seat.
out. Taz got to choke him out at
son.
that point. That's disrespect.
Nah, he might have to put the flops on him, man. You can't just let him disrespect you like that.
Straight up. Thanks for all the super chats and humper chats today, y'all. Y'all are dope.
Yeah, appreciate all the support as always. Appreciate you, Cresta, for coming through, as always. If they do not know where to follow you, tell them where to follow you. Tell them where to find your other podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you. First of all, Phil and Reg for having me. If you guys are on Fightful tonight, what are you doing around like 10 o'clock? You like Collision? Me and Iridian are going to be on. We're going to be doing the post show. Rick won't be with us. So it'll be a 2-woman power trip. And every Thursday, I'm also here on Fightful with Joe Pearl. Every Wednesday, only now on Twitch and TikTok at Cresta Star. I stream live and we watch AEW Dynamite. But if that was a lot of information, and right up here, Cresta D Star on Twitter, X, whatever the kids are calling it. There's a link tree. You can click all this stuff. Bam. That's it. I don't have an outline.
Listen, man, I kind of have a bone to pick with y'all as well, man, because you've been on our show a few times. And when I was on here screaming at the top of the mountains, Colliders all day, Collision is the show to watch, I was never invited to review Collision. I was just like, how did this happen? This feels wrong.
Hey, so as it turns
Phil
out,
is an official Collider, for real. Yeah.
As it turns out, Rick isn't with us. So what you doing around 10 o'clock, Mr. Lindsey?
I don't know. Could be booked.
You know, I respect that answer. That hit me with the baseline. Didn't know me then. Mm-hmm. Bet you wish you knew me now.
Straight up.
But nah, man. I'm glad the Collision has gotten better, because at one point I was like, man, what's happening to the show, man?
I thought it was gonna get canceled. I'm not gonna hold you in public. I was like,
it's not looking too good for y'all over here, but they made it out.
Yeah. Continental Classic helped out Dynamite and Collision a lot. Particularly Collision. I think Collision benefited a lot from the Continental Classic. But
yo, hit my DMs if you free later. We can have a third spot. We can make space.
Oh man, appreciate you as always. Always appreciate my co-host. It has been a blast as always. This has been Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey, Righteous Reg, Cresta Star. We are out.
We're ending.